like I'm meant to strike. Flat earth beneath my feet, knowing I'm here to meet. Ocean's edge, it calls my name. Purpose in this life's game. Horizons line so clear, God's love brings me near. Flat earth made by him, my journey long yet thin. Purpose found in every day, guided by his gentle sway. Mountains tall, they stand in place.
Yo, Flows, what's up? It's good to see you all. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you could make it. Woohoo! This is the pre-show before the debate. It starts in an hour. So if you are watching this on recording, just skip to an hour if you don't want to bother with the pre-show. But yeah, it's good to see you all. Good to see everybody in the YouTube lands as well. Thank you for being here. Hit the likes, share the show. And we are joined by Janusz, Matthew, PJ, and Khan. How you guys doing?
All good. The earth is flat and Jesus loves us.
Amen.
Absolutely.
So, what is news?
News.
Don't watch it.
I have news because I'm working on a video at the moment.
Ooh.
And while making my video and digging up some things, I found something very interesting. I don't know if you guys saw what I placed. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Doesn't that look very familiar? It's exactly the same shape, and the angle seems to be the same as well.
Oh, is this the Flat Earth Warriors video, or is this from the actual?
That's from Flat Earth Warriors video where the lines are.
But there's definitely lines there, isn't there? And it does look like a right angle to me.
It looks just like they use.
I've heard on Grapevine they've been into this footage and changed it since this was.
They have. Apparently, it took them 3 hours to change it.
Wow. Why are they doing that though?
I went to go and try and find it as well, and I can't find it anymore.
Why are they doing that though? Like, does that not say something dodges a foot?
Yeah,
I'd say so.
the fact that they have to change it,
Yeah,
shows you that they know they're getting caught.
but that's what I was trying to say yesterday. That them lines resemble that Amazon screen thing.
But,
Shouldn't be there.
I mean, come on, like we all must be in agreement now. It's a clean hoax.
Of course it is.
100%. I said 90. Last week I said 99%. I'm now at 100. Like it's a clean hoax.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I was wondering when everyone was like showing that lines, I was like,
I couldn't see them to start off with. I had to look hard. But then I seen how obvious it is.
Yeah, you could see it, but now it's not there anymore.
All right.
And what's odd about it, because I was thinking, okay, it's got very specific lines to it, but looking at like the video I'm working on now, it shows you they actually got an adjustable LED screen moving up and down, and which works exactly what I was talking about, corroborating with Unreal Engine for an environment, HDR environment. So yeah, I'm going to go into more detail with that compared to what, for instance, Eric DeBay and all of them, because they just say, okay, LM use this, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to explain to you the process.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things to go through. It might take me a while to make the video, but I'm going to try my best. I want to get out as quick as possible. But all I can say is, guys, stay tuned, because there's a lot of things that's still going to come out about this.
Yep.
It's going to hit the lid off.
It's very spooky.
It can only go one way. Like it's either true or it's false, and if it's false, then it'll be shown to be false. You know, it can't go any other way.
If it's a bit false, it's a lie. The truth cannot contain any lie. As simple as that.
I think this is gonna backfire. Well, it's already backfired a lot, but I think it's gonna backfire even more.
Yeah.
This is gonna backfire so bad on them that
Dylan says we should have waited, and this is why I want to address it, right? We shouldn't have waited, otherwise we'd have had a mountain of footage to go through. We've been dealing with it as it comes. Like, I don't agree that we should have waited and see what they present. I mean, a lot of stuff that they've presented since they were there has come out in time for them to doctor stuff, you know? So I think we should have been calling it out as it were presented, which we have been doing. And there's that many holes in it. Like, I don't know why there's any point in waiting for out anyway.
Whoa, hey guys, King Nico says, just seen Professor Dave call
About to
us
say
all
that.
out. Did he?
Yeah, but
Dave, not a Professor Dave called us out. This would be new.
you know something? I did a stream earlier. It was a you are mock from about 2 weeks ago. No, flat earther or flat earth debunker, guess who sort of thing. And Dave came up, not a professor. Dave came up and he says, I don't know why people keep calling him not a professor, Dave, because I'm sure he's a professor. I'm like, you know he's not a professor. Come on, you are mocked. You know he's not a professor.
He knows he's not.
Self-admittedly not a professor.
I
Chris knows he's not.
I clipped that recording, didn't I? And it's on my channel where he clean admits himself he's not a professor.
Exactly. So you are mocked.
No coming back
why
from
these
that.
guys are saying that because he is a professor. I'm like, he's not a professor. Simple.
Can you believe he's apparently he's calling us all out? So I want to see this. This is
Yeah.
his
That's
latest video.
By the way, do you know what's the difference between professor, doctor, and the guy with the title of Master of Science? Master of Science has to know everything. A doctor has to know a bit of stuff, and the professor has to know nothing, but need to know where the Master of Science guy is.
So the professor doesn't know the scientific method. Is that what you're saying?
The professor knows nothing, mainly.
Let's quickly see what he has to say.
A video from a few months ago about the big Antarctica trip to check for the 24-hour sun. Well, that trip did indeed take place with several flat earthers in attendance, and the aftermath has been complete chaos. Let me fill you in on what happened down there and what's been going on since then. Once again, the whole point of the trip.
Sorry?
He will use bias. He will say, yeah, it proves it's 24-hour sun, and it proves it globe Earth. This will be his narrative, 100%.
And King Nico says, and Simon Dan posted a video calling out Leo. Like, I don't know what's the point in Simon Dan calling out anyone because he doesn't debate anyone. What's the point in him calling out anyone?
I have no idea. That's just dumb.
Yeah, I've stayed yesterday a bit longer with Nico, which I think is a nice fella. I like
Well,
him.
I'll be happy.
Honest guy.
I'll be happy if Dave called me out personally, because that then means he has to then debate me, which I've been saying he should debate me for how many years now?
I've got one comment to Simon, Dan. You and your reference frames are ruined.
No. You and your reference frames are ruined.
And physics says so. Physics says so.
I actually created a song that with it or something. It was like a little short. What was it? Let me see if what was it? A short video or I think it was a short. It was a quick one. It's this one. Wasn't that one? Okay, wasn't that one? Never mind. Let's just listen to what Mr. Dave says quickly.
Was to document the 24-hour sun that flat earthers have said for years doesn't exist in the southern hemisphere. And it will surprise absolutely none of you that they saw exactly that. They were down there for 4 days and the sun was circling above them in the clear sky the entire time, just like...
No. I think we got to correct that again, Dave. It's a claim that this is real footage. What has been shown? Many things showing it's not real footage.
I told you he will say it. I even didn't watch it. I just knew. So predictable.
So it's going to be funny. Professor Dave actually said some idiot calling himself Flatzoid. Okay, so he actually called me out. Great. So I have to make a video saying to Professor Dave, is his cowardice over? Is he going to actually debate me? Should be good.
Anyone who isn't a complete moron knew was going to happen. This was first documented in a live stream mere hours after they arrived on site. Let's check out some highlights from that live stream to kick things off.
And there you go, everyone. It's there's the sun in all of its glory right there over the Ellsworth Mountains. So here we go. Keep it
Over the Ellsworth Mountains, he says. Okay.
in mind, you can see everybody's cameras out, but the sun is exactly where the globe predicted it would be. Not only is it midnight here, but you are actually looking due south. So the sun is still up, and it is to the south of us.
There you go, flat earthers. Case closed. The
Wow.
Wow.
Case closed. Oh, man.
He's always late in it. He's always late in getting into it, Dave, when it comes to his saying things. But he just says the same as everybody else, but kind of does it in a more arrogant, reinforced way. You know what I mean? Like he's the first one to came up with, there you go, I told you. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
He's always lost to actually understand what's going on.
Yeah.
He's got a bad spirit. That's what Professor Dave's got. He's got a bad spirit and he needs help.
Mm-hmm.
Pray
No,
for him.
definitely. I agree.
sun is directly overhead at midnight, illuminating everything when you think it should be all the way on the other side of the pizza land, leaving them in total darkness. So you're wrong, and the Earth isn't flat. Of course, all flat earthers watching the live stream immediately accepted defeat and abandoned their cult of delusions to become normal contributing members of society. The end. I'm just kidding. It's going to be a
That's a bold claim.
I think Dave, you should get new script writers because they are
Terrible.
horribly very. It's childish kind of script.
Very much so.
And it's dry humor. It's not even funny.
It's
Non-stop
way back.
train-
It's like 90s. It's like a 90s dry comedy kind of sketch that's gone wrong. It's completely rubbish.
Yeah, and it's also like he's like teaching preschool because there's these silly little cartoons pop up all the time.
train wreck of reality denial and coping mechanisms for the rest of the video. But what about the flat earthers in attendance? What do they have to say? Let's start with Jeran.
Sometimes you are wrong in life. And I thought that there was no 24-hour sun. In fact, I was pretty sure of it. But I respect Will Duffy for being a stand-up guy, at least in the way that he kept saying it was true. I kept saying it wasn't. He said, "You want to go? I'll take you," and brought me here. And it's a fact. The sun does circle you in the south. So what does that mean? You guys are going to have to figure that out
His
yourself.
arms are folded.
Don't.
Yeah, while his arms are folded.
Yeah,
and,
while his arms are folded, all in a defensive mode. Yeah, there's a 24-hour sun. Honestly, hi, there is.
just trust me, bro. Yeah.
Listen to my beliefs or my opinion. It shouldn't matter to you, but at least you should be able to accept that the sun does exactly what these guys said as far as circles the southern continent. So that's about it. I
just want to know why his glasses are showing like 4 suns. If you guys haven't realized that.
There's a lot of tutting going on as well. A lot of like, it's like he's not telling the truth, or he's like he's sucking it up because he was completely wrong. But I think it's because he's not telling the truth.
It looks like he's in severe pain to me.
He does. Look like he's in pain. Having to
You
say
don't
that.
look happy.
No.
But I want to ask you, how much suns is there in Antarctica again? 1,
Is it-
correct?
Yeah, isn't that 24 suns, 1 an hour?
Yeah, I can see that. 1, 2, 3, 4 sun reflections in his glasses. How? How's that possible?
Wow.
I realize that I'll be called a shill for just saying that. And you know what?
No, you've been a shill since you came into the community, and you know that you've been called that for easily 7 years now.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But if you're a shill for being honest, so be it. I honestly believe there was no 24-hour sun. I honestly now believe there is. That's it.
Whoa. I honestly now believe there is. You're supposed to say, I know there is because I observed it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
you see, guys,
Flatzoid.
Some things are very, yeah.
What does fucking valianted mean?
Someone speaking.
The guy is just trying to insult me. Danny,
I
dan
thought
ek wil net ietsie vir jou sê, Danny. Vat daai speel wat voor jou is, nê? Nee. En kyk mooi in hom. En sê daai woorde vir jouself.
I second that, dude. Whatever he said.
Yeah,
I told him to look in the mirror and say those words to himself.
There you
And
go.
by the way, because he wants to do that, I'm literally removing him and timing him out.
Fair play.
Put you in timeout for 10 minutes. There we go. Go to the naughty corner.
It's Robert's Rules of Order in here. Africanus or whoever you are.
Afrikaans.
Yeah.
Afrikaans.
And
Okay.
keep it to English in chat, please.
Yeah, guys, unfortunately, the people here are English. They don't understand Afrikaans. But he literally just swore at me quite badly.
I thought fucking sounded a bit like
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to call me a shill, so be it.
They sure will, Jeran. They sure will. But more
We sure have said it for 7 years, Jeran, because you are. You were a plant.
And Dave sounds like he's all like, "The sure will, Jack." Haven't you called him a shill as well, Dave? Of some sort,
yeah.
I know, that's the funny thing.
you know?
Do you know exactly from where word shill comes from?
Where, the word?
Yeah. Do you know
What
the origin?
Shill,
English,
no?
English were paying in the shillings. So, yeah,
Hey,
that's where
yeah.
it comes from.
So in other words, a Judas.
Yeah.
Flatzoid, if we could double back, that was a good point, man. Because
It
he
was.
said going from one belief to a new belief.
Yeah. And he says, "I now believe." He didn't say, "I now know." Which
Yeah.
he's meant to know because he's seen it.
That's
He
my
says,
point.
"I now
If you
believe."
saw it, that's my point. If you
But
saw it, it's like,
you're missing a belief out though.
Yeah.
There's 3 beliefs. You've gone from globe to flat and then back to globe, so that's 3.
yeah, but Michael, the point we're making is he believed there wasn't a 24-hour sun. Now he believes there is a 24-hour sun. You're not
When he
supposed to
should
believe
know.
it. You're supposed to know
No.
it because you observed it, remember?
Mhm. Exactly.
So yeah, that makes me sound. It reminds me of Dave McKeegan, where he corrected himself after he said the sun went behind Mount Rosman.
Yeah.
He first said it went behind Rosman, and then said no, above. There's a lot dodgy with all this stuff going around, guys. A lot.
on that a bit later. Now it's Austin's turn.
Yeah, so I mean, I was one of the people that said I definitely didn't think that there was a 24-hour sun. We obviously haven't actually seen the sun for 24 hours, but it is doing what they said it would do very clearly. And it is still dancing around high in the sky. So obviously we're documenting it. But yeah, you know, I said what I feel about this the whole time. Truth doesn't fear investigation. I think that we're truly trying to figure out the truth. And obviously some people think that what we were told is the truth. I don't think that, but I do think that people need to be honest and humble and be like, whoa, you know, we were wrong.
It's cute that Austin thinks flat earthers have the capacity for honesty since he's not exactly famous for it himself. But while we're on the subject, are you guys really in Antarctica? Come on, get real. Isn't this Greenland or something?
They did. They followed through with their word. We are in Antarctica. I can assure you, we tracked it with multiple compasses the entire way we were going south or just off of south for 4 consecutive hours from Punta Arenas. I can guarantee you that's where we were as well. So
why are you laughing? Why is he laughing?
I'd challenge that not one person who went there knows how to use a compass.
I
Yeah,
challenge
remember-
they did not have multiple compasses. They kept flipping the one that they had upside down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even when they were in Punta Arenas, they were trying to use it. They couldn't even get it right to use the compass. They were struggling because they didn't understand how the magnetic fields work.
Can you move a bit backwards? I want to see his posture. I think he.
Yeah, but not
he's
just
like
that.
clear
Yeah,
now.
he looked very defensive the way he was crossing his arms and bouncing.
Yeah, that's the
but,
question.
he
But
laughed,
I want to see his shoulders.
but look how he laughed when he was explaining it, though.
Thing?
they did. They followed through with their word. We are in Antarctica. I can assure you, we tracked it with multiple compasses the entire way we were going south or just
He's
off
even
of south
smiling.
for 4 consecutive hours from Punta Arenas. I can guarantee you that's where we were
I see the movement of
as
the
well.
shoulder.
So
It's not about the hand. It's just a tick. His left shoulder.
Hey,
Dave in the hoose.
Dave in the house. What's up, man?
Oh, so
Good saber.
Good. Oh,
Come on!
We are exposing shields.
He ran like clappers, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Now I don't know what to do. I finally went ahead and I blocked that guy, so he ain't got nobody to play with, nobody to talk to now.
no, it's good. He deserves it.
Who's that?
Oh,
Guys
Billy
trying to-
Madison.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Billy Madison. He's quite a little twat waffle.
I've heard you talking about it before.
But yeah, guys, body language is a lot. And that's one thing I have kind of pride myself in doing by trying to learn people's body language. And I can see Jeran and Austin are very uncomfortable where they are and what they're saying.
Definitely.
And Duffy as well has a different posture, different tics. When he's speaking, it's a tell. It's a tell.
Yep. And the fact that he literally shrugged his shoulders and laughed when he said, "We're really here," you know, that's a tall tale sign he's trying to lie to himself. Yeah, man.
Whatever, shill. Anything else?
Well, this is pretty like legendary stuff. Like no one's ever actually done this. We have multiple cameras. We have cameras documenting the camera. We have everything you could imagine. This has never been done. We're getting the sunspots. We're getting every different angle you can imagine. It's truly amazing. It's very cool. We're doing a lot of firsts.
No, Austin, what you're doing is not new or remarkable at all. You are not a hero or a pioneer of any kind. You're just one of the only flat earthers who accepted a free trip to Antarctica, a place where humans have been doing research since the middle of the 19th century.
Yeah, and Dave, no one has ever filmed a 24-hour sun. TFE included.
You know what I mean?
So what do you think about the latest meme I made? Sal?
I'm sorry, what?
What do you think about the latest meme I've made?
I haven't seen it yet. Where's it at?
I emailed you.
Oh, you talking about that thing with them fighting that thing? Is that a scene from a movie?
I'm busy making a video, and I came across it like, hang on, that looks like exactly to the T, same angle, everything.
Yep. That's what I was going to ask you, if that was like from a screenshot from a movie. You know,
it's from a movie.
Man, I was like, look at there, and I showed my buddy. I just looked at it a few minutes ago. My friend, that's why I was late. My friend Randy was over here, and I opened that up. And I go, son of a bitch! If that's from a movie, I said, look, we got him. That's it. Look at, there's even the corner. There's even the corner like that dude shot.
Exactly the same.
Well,
so and by the way, they literally went and then they edited the video and took it out after people have been showing that.
No way.
Yeah. So it's not available to be noticed anymore. Luckily, people have it already downloaded and showed. So yeah, they're even editing the stuff afterwards so people don't see it. Nice.
And this is why it
was already released, so people can reach the version before. So they can edit now, nothing happens.
This is why I stand by that we should have been covering it as it's released.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Everything you are doing has been done countless times. Flat earthers just say it's all fake, which is why someone paid for you to go and see for yourself. Do you think the rest will keep pretending it's all fake, even though you're telling them it's real? I guess we'll find out, won't we? Now let's check with another flat earther named Jonathan.
We really just want to see things for ourselves.
Does anybody know anything about this Jonathan other than
nothing?
He's a producer and he worked for Disney.
No, I didn't.
I don't even know his second name. I don't know where he comes from. I don't know what he does. He's just all we know is he did direct for Disney. I mean, that's it. Jonathan who? I have no idea.
He's just a placeholder of some kind.
How do you know he's a flat earther?
So,
it's quite sad.
And this has been unbelievable. I wish it would set. I think the magic of a setting sun.
Does Jonathan have a copy of a 24-hour sun in the South, like Antarctic South?
I don't know. But yeah, I can't seem to find anything, and I'm definitely not in the mood to ask Will Duffy for the guy's information. I don't even think he'd give it anyway.
So has anybody checked the footage? That's 24-hour footage. Apparently, Wits had is the same footage as Will's. Is that? I know someone in chat said it was true last night, 100%, but that's someone in chat. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody's checked it.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they're the same footage. I don't know.
It'd be a lot cooler if he had it. Think about it.
It would make me a lot happier. I'll sleep better. The mountains, you can't see any behind us, but the mountain here is like, I mean, I think we're probably a little further now, but it's 2 miles from our
mountains. You can't see any behind. I see it right there, above Will Duffy's name.
Oh yeah, there is a bit of mountain that. Yeah.
camp, and it looks like you could touch it. Just overall incredible.
Cool beans, Jonathan. Anyway, this specific part of the live stream leads us to our first big conspiracy from the flat earthers watching at home. Jonathan has a patch of green as well as other little bits of green on his jacket. This live stream is happening from Will Duffy's computer, and Will uses a green screen at home. That's how he gets...
Yeah, I also heard that Jonathan said the sun was different on his camera over the north. That's also going to be in my video about the sun going the wrong way.
Yeah. But you see how they're picking up on that green screen one, the very first one it was ever picked up. I mean, and that's the least of it. I mean, that's the least of it, and it's still picking up.
All I was trying to make a point with the green screen was, why do you have chroma key on if you don't need to use it? That's it. That's it. Not saying they had green screen.
No.
Just why do you have chroma key on?
That's because that was designed as a red herring to get people to go, oh, look, they're using green screen. So they could come on and say, no, we're not using green screen. No, you're using something else. Okay. Now you're in a cold environment like that. When you have that chroma key shit turned on, even if you're not using it, it's eating up battery resources. You want to save as much battery as you possibly can because you're in an environment where batteries don't last very long. So why wouldn't you just have that turned off and take all the precautions?
Exactly.
Karen B tried to say, well, you don't understand how hard it is to turn that shit on and off. And I just went like this. I just went, oh, I know. It's real difficult to turn that on and turn it off, isn't it? And oh, look, look at all the difficulty I went through to turn that off.
That's magic, man. It's magic.
Come on.
And by the way, if it was, for instance, let's say using OBS, okay, it literally shows you what's on screen before you even go live. So he would see, oh, his chroma key's on. Guys, let's put it off.
Of course.
But yeah, it's insanity. What did I want to say? I forgot what I wanted to say.
You want to say, pray for Professor Dave.
Amen. Amen.
Gets his logo behind him for all of his videos and interviews. Because he uses a green screen, he uses a chroma key, which he happened to leave on, along with his default background, the TFE logo. That's why the green parts of Jonathan's jacket look transparent as he moves around. You're basically seeing a green screen effect on those green parts of his jacket due to the chroma key being on.
The talk as though no one knows what green screen and chroma key is like. As though they're talking to little kids.
But that's how they usually are, though. That's unfortunately how they usually are. Remember, anti-flat earthers are some of the biggest bigots you get under the sun. All they have is just insulting.
They're very emotionally and mentally immature. I've noticed that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really to a fault. It's really bad. I notice they act like children rather quickly. As soon as you back them into any kind of a corner that they can't refute what you're saying, then that's the minute they start going, oh yeah, well your mom eats poop, and it's like, oh okay.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys watched that. I actually listened into that debate that FTFE had with Matthew Kim the other day on MDD, that 5-hour one. And I couldn't finish listening to it because FTFE constantly didn't shut the hell up, constantly moaned and cried, constantly told Ryan, no, I will talk, I will do blah, blah, blah. He cried out. He insulted so bad that he said, Matthew, your mom hates you. Yeah. It's like insanity how bad it was. And Matthew literally had him over the ropes the whole time. That it's sad because he even brings up things like, okay, why doesn't this mountain have shadows? You know what Craig's response is? Give me the maths for that. How much degrees do you expect? How much? There's a sun, there's a mountain, there should be shadow. There is no shadow. No, I want the maths. How much should we see?
Right. Well, what about that's just like that troglodyte you were debating the other day that it might as well have never showed up. Well, where's the formula for this? And it's like, why? You wouldn't understand it any fucking way. What are you worried about?
And I put it on and he still couldn't get it.
No.
It's insane.
Oh, that's solid.
On. Naturally, flat earthers at home decided this meant they are filming in front of a green screen.
No, what we're saying is some of the parts were filmed on green screen. That's why he had the chroma key on, because they did green screen studio work there as well.
Or blue
not
screen,
when they were doing that. As I said, they did go to Antarctica, okay?
Oops, sorry.
But they did studio work too.
Right behind me.
Not hard to understand.
Well, that's usually how a movie production happens, you know, on set, off set, on
Different
placement.
locations,
Yeah.
different times, exactly. Remember, this thing has been planned out way over a year in advance, okay? They had more than enough time to get all their planning ready, all their editing ready, everything they needed to get ready. More than enough time.
Yeah.
They had the funds to do it as well. People are going on like, oh, well, Duffy only had enough money to take them to Antarctica. Bullshit, man.
They had to buy that Starlink thing, and that ain't cheap.
Yeah.
That's going to cost you $2,500 cash up front for a $250
But let me tell you this,
month.
but let me put it this way. If someone has $100K to fork up just to send people to Antarctica, do you think he doesn't have money to have people making a fake sun in post-production for him before they actually go?
Well, didn't he say they had already had that he had already had people down there for months prior to arriving?
Yes.
He admitted that in a video.
Which conglomerates what I said. They went there before to take the HDR environment.
Is Danny Archer swearing at you again, Flats?
Oh, shame. Let me translate it for you. I say, jou denkvaardighede is die typiese produk van voortplanning in Boksburg. Jy is dommer as self Zuma. He's saying I'm dumber than Zuma because I'm a product of Boksburg. First of all, Danny, I don't come from Boksburg. Second of all, no, definitely much smarter than Zuma. My left toe smarter than Zuma. And apparently smarter than you too.
Definitely.
So I'm going to ask Danny something. Show me where the flat earther hurt you, man.
Yeah.
Right. Show us on the doll where the flat earth hurt you.
Flat.
So yes.
Never argue with an idiot. Idiot will always bring you down to his level, and we always defeat you with the experience.
No, that's why I'm laughing at him. But Danny, if you really want to, man, come and talk to us sometime. More than happy to show who's the dumb one. Because I finished school with 3 distinctions. It's a bit hard to do that if you're dumb.
Did we talk about the false dichotomy? Because they might.
Yes, please. False dichotomy. Go on.
Yeah, if we assume that we're going to the bottom of the world to the
Antipodal?
Yeah, you've already why? Why are we doing those things? Why, the false dichotomy? So you assume you go to the bottom of the world and see the sky, see the sun above the horizon, and this is going to prove that the ground is falling away at 8 inches per mile squared. Why would we assume that in the first place?
But that's the thing. Because the globe falls flat and everything, they've never measured curve. It's always measured flat. They've never observed rotation. It's always measured stationary. They've never observed gas pressure without containment because that's whatever it shows. So the only thing they have is to say, sky move. I see sky move, so that means Earth move, and mean globe. It's like the guy's face on screen.
I know. I was thinking that as that voice came out, I was seeing his face.
That looks. And by the way, I can 100% guarantee you that guy on screen is a glober.
But the other side of the coin, do you think? I think it might have been worse, man. I don't know. In the long run, it might have been worse if they came back and they claimed there wasn't a 24-hour sun.
Flatzoid. Hi, so. Hi,
What's
PJ.
up?
Great to see you all.
Good to see you, bro.
Because then you would have flat
Nice.
earthers believing that something in the sky proves the geometry of the ground.
And I mean, we've been, as far as I can remember, ever since I got into this subject, flat earthers always said, and that's why they always do the analogy of the snooker table.
Yeah.
The sky does not determine the ground.
No.
And what is this whole thing about? The sky determining the ground.
Exactly.
Can you define geometry?
Which kind of geometry?
I can. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I can.
Regarding
Is that rhetorical?
Earth flight.
Is that rhetorical, Michael?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not.
But it's again shit for us, you know. They said it's not good for us. It's a minus for us, you know.
Geometry literally means shape measuring.
Yeah.
Okay, shape measuring.
That-
Just like
that's why I-
astronomy literally means star naming.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
why I
want to
said it. Well, that's why I said it was rhetorical.
Yeah.
And is Earth shape?
No, it's a condition.
So yeah.
It's an aspect, isn't it? Level's an aspect. Flat is an aspect. That's what I see it as.
Flat stationary.
It's a condition.
Right.
Yeah, a condition, yeah.
Condition. It's not a shape.
No curvature.
Yep.
No
To
convexity.
fake their surround.
I wonder where he's calling us out. Ah, there's Sov. Let's see.
Oh no.
Yeah, Sov was on my video earlier on today as well.
This course is about
On Sleeping Warrior. It was not my video, it was my live, but it was Mop's video, your Mop's video.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think it was.
And back.
I think Zetetic Ferret Face and Nacho Cheese were up there talking shit about us last night too. Somebody sent me a message and I said, "Oh, you're the topic of discussion right now," and I just clicked over to see what was going on, and I was like, "Oh, those asshats! Who gives a fuck what they got to say?" You know. And I looked in the chat, and I found a couple duplicitous people from my chat in there. Angela Baby Carson.
Yeah.
So I just fucking shit canned her ass off of my thing. She's blocked.
Well, the thing is, Nat Chiquita actually emailed me. It says, "I heard you calling me out." Blah blah blah. So yeah, I want to talk to you and Z. But no, it sounds like he only wants to talk one-on-one. I think he's embarrassed with how Z's going on, probably.
Oh, well, I wouldn't align myself with Z. He's a unhinged, psychopathic, toxic individual.
From what I've seen, a Natch is like a flag. He moves which way wind's blowing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you want to, if you haven't seen it yet, go over to my channel on my videos, not on live. There's a video I have on there. It's over a year old. It's called Zetetic Meltdown. It's got his little logo for the thumbnail, so you can't miss it. Go check that out. This guy was telling people to self-delete themselves. People that were literally depressed and had been talking about it, he was telling that to.
Wow.
And,
well, he did say to us, he's coming to get us, and he's gonna take us down. I was like,
he said that back then when he was having that shit. And I'm like, well, how's that going for you now, Z? I have more subscribers than you. I get more views than you. I don't really keep track of that, but I thought it was interesting to go back and check and see how your progress of taking me down was going. And it doesn't seem to be going very good at all.
No.
You know? I don't have to hide behind some stupid fucking name. My channel is called Sovereign Soul. Unchained Mind. My name is David Kane. I make no bones about where I live, who I am, and who you see on this camera is exactly who you see if you were to come over and visit me in my front room or meet me on the street. I don't put up any
But you see,
pretense.
I think the problem with Z is he sees us as a threat because he wants to take over the role of Jeran and Whitsett and them.
He can have it. You want to be a Jeran?
Yeah.
Go ahead and be a fucking
Sorry,
Jeran.
can I say something?
Yeah, go, Jambo.
I just find it perfect, like guys come together now, you know, like DJs, Dave and Zoid, you know. It's really important now for the Flat Earth Society, you know. I mean, you can't say Flat Earth Society, I don't like this, because when you say they are liar, you're a truther, you know. This is so, yeah, sticks together, you know.
Yeah.
But,
okay. Well, we haven't got a
yeah.
lot of time left before the debate. I think let's just watch 5 more minutes of this.
Okay, but just one thing. So, you know the guy what gets arrested at the third day at the TFE?
Someone got
You heard
arrested?
about him? Yeah, he got arrested, yeah, the third day.
No, I don't know.
You don't heard about it?
Uh-uh.
Okay, King Nico said this, bring it out, call it out. And he was wearing a red t-shirt on the first day.
Oh,
a
that
blue
guy,
on
yeah,
the second day. Yeah, that
Yeah,
guy
the player
gets
that took the
arrested
shirt,
at the
yeah.
third day.
Mm-hmm. He was also showing why Austin, when he was on Jeran's show, he had the red hoodie on, and then straight away went to his new show, and then he had the blue.
Yeah, right.
Exactly the same symbolism.
That's why I love King Nico. You know, he's able to just get to find it out immediately. You know, when they're talking about it, he's really into that. Yeah. Mm.
Did you see the thing where Duffy's drone?
Yeah,
it went on past
went in his
McToon.
hand. And, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it went back, right? Why don't you
Yeah.
drive it forward and show us on the camera from the drone what's forward of you? But nevertheless, he drove it backward to say, see, you can't do that with a green screen. Well, you can in one of them studios, one of them volume studios that we've been talking about, right? So what happens is this drone that he's got has a proximity alert. And when it gets within a range of an object that it could collide with, it beeps. And the closer it gets to it, it beeps faster. And to a point where when it's in danger of crashing into something, you can't make it go any further.
Right.
All right.
I'm saying that feature.
So Duffy flies this thing, and we figured it out just by watching Duffy or Toon's footsteps, that he was approximately 16 feet. It looks like he's further because of the focal length of the way the camera
that's
works.
the thing is they do show you trickery because of the angle.
Mm-hmm.
He does look a lot closer than what he is. That is true.
He don't fly far.
Based on his footsteps,
Sorry?
He doesn't fly far. I think he had islands, you know, the curved one. I think he had it too on the camera. So it looked farther away, but he flies farther, but he's not flying far.
Yeah, but like Dave also says, why didn't you just take the drone straight up?
Yeah, yeah.
Guys,
you take
you're making me motion sick. You're making me motion sick. Just stop.
They are inside something. Of course they are, yeah. It looks so fake, really. It's set like the moon landing.
he was approximately 16 feet behind Duffy. Duffy flies the fucking drone back toward Toon. He's standing here, so it's kind of lateral to him. It goes by him, and you hear it go deep, 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 deep. Then it goes on. Then it goes deep, 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 deep. There's nothing there. Empty sky.
Jesus Christ.
I think we actually
the drone controller.
I think we're actually going to have to go through this whole thing at a stage because there's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're honestly not going to be able to go now because my debate's in like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Well, so is it on here or are you going elsewhere?
Yeah. I'm gonna be doing it streaming on here again.
Cool. So it's, you're not changing streams, you're sticking to the stream. It's
No,
just,
just staying on, yeah.
just staying on here, right? Got you.
And then we'll have an after show after this because I don't think it's going to go on too long. Critical Think, yeah.
Is that dude looks like he just rolled out of some kind of a slum bar or something to me? You know, like, I mean, is he for real? Or did they just kind of dig this guy up? I've never run across this.
He looks like one of those Australians that literally live out in the middle of nowhere.
It's
and never really never get any visitors.
Crocodile Dundee and Wish.
He's a Temu version of Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
sorry. What do you mean now?
What's up, man?
You know.
Peaky Blinder there.
Sorry, who are you talking about?
That's not an applied sphere. This is an applied sphere.
You need to get off your fat ass and go outside, spend some more time outside and do some shit. Looks like to me that's a serious couch potato problem he's got going on there. I saw him. I was like, where'd they drag this guy out of a flea market or some shit? Where'd they get him?
Yeah, but don't you guys find it odd? They got a whole bunch of weird characters belonging to this weird club called the Wolf Pack, and they're all weirdos. You know what I mean? It's like,
and they're all brain dead. Let's not forget that.
So,
hi, Roger, too. Nice to hear you.
I mean, this Critical Think guy with his so-called is in a world of pain with his science business. Get ready.
yeah, he still thinks what he did was science, guys.
Oh, no.
So it's going to be funny. But yeah, we haven't seen any science for anything yet. I don't know about you guys.
No.
If they can show me one scientific experiment for TFE, well, I don't know. I haven't seen any.
Well, the bollock that they dropped were claiming science before they'd even gone and observed a natural phenomena. That were one of the biggest problems for him.
Calling it an experiment in the first place. Yeah.
That they are Masons. You can see in it.
And these people like they like to throw around prediction, you know. But like, if it's a scientific prediction, then that's an hypothesis. And like trying to claim that they've got a model that predicts is also bullshit, because we know they've not got a model. Like, so they're mixed up. Like, they've got it back to front, totally not understanding it, and just throwing science around like it's, you know, it's bad.
Yeah, for me it's same like the moon landing 2.0. Really, 3 guys from us. I like Jeran and Austin.
You like them?
I learned a lot from them.
Really?
Yeah, you know, I learned a lot of them. You know, really.
I do. I don't know what you like. I don't know what you like.
And say I've learned
when
nothing from
TFE
them.
started, I changed my mind.
I don't know what you could have learned off them, to be honest. Except lies.
Yeah, you know, so you get the top 5, like, and you get them. Yeah, now they're shields, yeah.
So,
of course. Now I don't like them, of course. Now it's
In
over.
13 minutes, Flatzoid's gonna
Something
take.
like this you can't do.
He's not gonna show up to win. He's gonna show up to
Sad.
debate. Losing's gonna take care of itself.
Yeah, I just gotta let you guys know it's not gonna be like the chat I had over McKeegan, because there my specific goal was just to let him talk so I can get some information.
Will you pass a message on to Critical Think? Tell him I want to set up shop with him. I'll buy gold and post it to him, and then he can send me money back.
And that's exactly a point I want to make tonight. Why are all the tycoons not buying gold in the equator where it's cheaper, and then going down to the poles and selling it there because it weighs more?
Exactly.
It's like you can make a very lucrative business doing this.
Yep.
Buying gold where it's cheaper and selling it where it's more expensive because it gets heavier. Yeah, Austin and scriptures is not a good thing.
No.
But when you buy it, it's mostly you get lesser when you sell it. So you got to keep
Thomas
it.
Morgan, right? If you think Austin loves
Really
scriptures, Go onto his channel, and there's a video where it says something like Christians will be triggered or something like that. And he literally states in that video, if you think Jesus Christ is God, then you're a moron. And that was years ago. So.
Oh, but remember, I asked him when I
they
chatted
attack
to him.
us, yeah, the Christianity.
Remember, I asked him when he was on the other night, and I asked him,
They
"Is
really
Jesus God?"
attack
He
us.
said
Yeah.
no.
I pulled him on it probably over a year ago now, like, and he doubled down on it big time.
Mm-hmm.
Started throwing all sorts at me. You're a nobody. I don't even know you. What you want? You know, all his little tactics, like.
He's grinding at all sides, you know, just like with the vape gate, you know, what Zoid did so great, talked with him. And the demons are binding inside. This is crazy, really. But hey, it is. I don't care now. He's the enemy now.
Yeah, I know, Thomas. I know you said fart, mate. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, these people have pillaged everybody. You know, everybody should be angry about it, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Okay, guys.
Of course, but
I'm
for some,
gonna
you know, flat earth don't look good in one time more.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that right now. So I'm gonna. You guys can stay in if you want to, but I would appreciate if you guys would mute.
I'll blame myself.
Yeah,
I think it was you off with the last debate.
Yeah, I could hear some. I could hear
It was a
some
word
after that.
where you swore as soon as David Keegan said something. It was like,
I know. I had. I had to. I had to
someone
mute
actually
myself
sent me the
because I was
timestamp of that. I was like, "What's this timestamp?" It's like, oh fuck.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. You wanted to know that Jonathan's surname, didn't you, Flats?
Yeah.
Dave sent me something.
You can get it to me
no,
later.
not sorry, Dave. Sorry, he said Flats wanted to know Jonathan's surname. So, which one is it? I was getting confused by your. Is it?
You can send it to me just now. Don't worry about it, because then I can try and contact him myself. I'd like to have a discussion with him.
Yeah, I think it's Jonathan Mariande. It's hold on. Mariande. Mariande.
Jonathan Mariande.
Mariande.
Should be able to pick him up somewhere, especially because if he's worked for Disney.
Sorry, Dave. I totally forgot.
No stress, but thanks, man. Okay, guys, I'm going to go over there now. I'm going to show it here, and then hopefully the debate won't go on too long, and then
And I'm hitting my mute button right now. I'm hitting my mute button right now.
John, then I'll have an after show, and if you guys have any questions to ask Mr. FTFE fight the fat shirt and Critical Think, yeah.
Can I just ask you a question though? Why are you going over there and earning Fight the Flat Earth money?
That's what I said. I'm here as well. No, I'm wanting to debate. The problem is I invited Critical Think to come here, but he was too scared.
Yeah, no.
So,
They'll not come here because they want
didn't want to
themselves. Like, and
I believe this.
Either come to my channel to debate. You want to debate me? Come here, or don't bother.
But that's the thing. He's too scared.
No, well then you don't debate him. Like, why are we lining these people's pockets? No, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I think it's needed to be shown that it's not scientific, because a lot of flat earthers still told me it's science. By the way,
I just put a link to a really good movie that I'd almost forgotten about from 1977. I put it back in the private chat. It's about some people that are under MK Ultra. And the name of the movie is Telephone, but spelled like the German, Telefon. And it's really crazy because these people get a phone call, and this guy will say like a Robert Frost poem, like part of a Robert Frost poem, and all of a sudden they glitch out and they'll go get a gun, do some crime, and then off themselves. And it's like Bronson's trying to get to the bottom of this thing. And I thought for 1977, it's pretty out there in your face, you know?
it sounds interesting.
Put it over in the chat.
Okay, I'm gonna get started, and I'll see you guys again. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop out while you're debating.
This is a preemptive shut up for anybody who needs to hear it. Mute up.
Yeah. Mute up.
Have fun. Have fun, Flats.
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun.
Yep.
It's always fun.
Catch you.
Much love, Michael. Later. God willing.
By the way, hit the likes, guys. Share the show, please. Really does help. I'm gonna show now. Testing 1 2 1 2.
No. Hello, Mr. Zoid of the flat.
Can you hear me?
No. Yeah. Yes, dude, we can hear you. How you doing?
Good, and yourself?
A bit. So I had a bit of a migraine yesterday. Have you ever had migraines?
Yes, I used to suffer from them a lot. At least since
Yeah.
I started eating healthy and exercising, I've had much less migraines.
It seems to be the other way around for me.
Do you eat sugar?
No, not really. I've kind of cut sugar out of my diet apart from fruit.
Yeah.
And my pre-workout, I guess, has got some sugars in, but I actually think it was probably because I haven't been eating enough, to be fair. I'm like on a 1,500 calorie deficit at the moment, which is not that great. It's not something I can sustain for a long time.
No, I'm fine with the 1,500 calorie. I get used to it, so.
Yeah, my maintenance, according to my doctor, is about 3,300. So I because I'm quite big, I need to and work out a lot. If I want to maintain, I need quite a lot of calories, and I've been on a massive calorie deficit because I want to look good when I go on holiday.
Yeah, I had my six-pack. I was on 12% body fat when I got on holiday. And then thanks to my wife with all the cooking and all the eating out and puddings and stuff, I picked up quite a lot of weight.
Well, in the past 2 years, I've gone from 42% body fat to now I'm just over 20.
That's good. It's good. If you can maintain between 15 and 20%, that's healthy.
Yeah, I want to lose maybe another 2 stone, and I'll be happy with kind of my fat content, and then I just work on fixing my body properly.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to keep the diet going, and
that's the hardest bit about being healthy. Is I mean, I really had to change the way I think about food. To stop myself wanting to snack, and I completely stopped drinking any fizzy juice a couple of years ago, and then this year I've decided to stop eating any kind of crisps and like fried snacks, and I'm not really missing them, but every now and then I have a little craving, so I just down a protein shake and it seems to go away.
Oh, I've lost my Zoom window. That's no good.
It's probably gone. It probably gone to the side or something. It usually goes small.
Oh, that's okay. I found that it's shrunk itself down. Oh, where'd it go now? Back.
Okay, right. Just going to go live. I've got my intros at play, so just a couple of minutes.
Sure.
5, 4, 3.
Okay, I've muted myself on.
Why are you guys in my living room again?
Like, now that I think about it, the sun, we're told, is a big gaseous ball burning in space in a vacuum. By the way, since we're on the subject of vacuum, fire, the element by which the sun exerts its energy, and I don't care if it's nuclear fission or what, it's still fire, needs what element, folks, in order to continue to burn? Oxygen.
Okay, so I'm muted on his side so long, waiting for his intro to finish playing. At least his intro doesn't really come through because that song. But yeah, guys, please hit the like, share the show. It's good to see you all. Good to see 175 people watching. Woohoo! Yeah, if you guys have any questions for them in the Q&A, remember to hit that super chat and I can read it out to Critical Think and Craig, even if it's just to insult. because they do that. So why can't we? Okay, let's get this party started. Such a boring intro, actually. Don't know about you guys, but to me, it's quite boring.
I'm just reading the comments. Somebody said his face has nothing to do with the wheelchair.
Oh, come on. There we go. Thanks, Soggs. No, I don't need luck. I just do this for fun and to get the information out there.
Yep.
That's it. There's no debate. Let's place it that way, guys.
We're living on a disk, floating through space with a tiny sun.
Okay, it's going to start now. There we go.
Hello and welcome to another Flat Earth debate on FTFE. I am your host, Craig McNeil, and we are here once again, thanks to the final experiment. Will Duffy literally just kind of chucked a hand grenade onto the world of the Flat Earth and just walked away as it exploded. It was fantastic. I unfortunately didn't get to go to Antarctica, which I was extremely jealous about. But tonight we have a debate between our friend Flatzoid from the channel Flatzoid Perspective and the legendary Critical Think. Critical Think is a world-leading expert in weight variation experiments. He has done more experiments than anybody else on the planet in this topic. He is the only person that has done this experiment ever in Antarctica. And today he is here to talk to Flatzoid about this experiment because Flatzoid has a lot of issues with it. Let me get the guys up on screen so you can say hello. Thank you guys for coming. Critical Think, hello, welcome to the channel.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Absolutely ecstatic. Yes, congratulations on all your achievements and everything you did in Antarctica. Now, obviously, Will Duffy funded, one of the Globers and Jeran and Austin, but you had to make your own way there, which meant that you funded yourself. So you have a fundraiser going to help cover those expenses. Would you like to tell everyone where they can get hold of that?
Certainly, yeah. So, well, my fundraising link is in most of my videos these days, and Craig has been kind enough to put it in the description of this video here. So, yeah, I totally funded this myself. It's a huge expense, and I would really appreciate if people could help me out because I'm quite cash strapped at the moment.
Well, we do appreciate you doing what you've done. And if anyone has any spare money and feels like donating, feel free, link in the description. And if my mods could be kind enough to please every now and then spam the link to Critical Think's fundraiser in the chat. Obviously, talking on the other side today is Flatzoid. How are you doing, Flatzoid?
Good, good. Thanks for having me. Happy to
no worries,
have this discussion. And I just want to say, if Craig gets 10 likes, he'll donate all his super chats to Critical Think tonight.
Wait, what? There's 42 already. What the hell? I enjoyed having you on the other day talking to Dave McKeegan. Pretty sure we went into some kind of alternate timeline because there was no shouting and stuff on my channel. It was very strange, but quite enjoyable. So hopefully the same can happen tonight. Hello to everyone over on Flatzoid's channel. I hope you are enjoying the show. Make sure you support your favorite creator over there, Flatzoid. And Flatzoid, I do want to say congratulations for absolutely smashing Nathan Oakley in the view counts. That's to be applauded. Anyone doing better than Nathan Oakley is a good thing, frankly. So good job. His channel seems to be the only one that's not grown because of this, but hey. Right, we're going to do 10-minute openers to go over your points and then into an open discussion. Do you have any preferences to who you'd like to go first?
Critical can go first, it's fine.
Right, Critical, over to you then, 10 minutes. And let's hear what you have about the experiments that you did and why you think they show that the Earth is rotating.
Okay, well, this is my first time debating, so I'll have to ask Flatzoid to go gentle with me, please. And I'm going to share.
Yep.
I hope this works.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right, so this I can start now. I gotta rush through this because I haven't got 10 minutes, and it's a long topic. But anyway. So I'm
I'm saying that the globe is confirmed because weight change measurements during the final experiment by the legendary Critical Think, which is me, they confirmed the globe and the reasons for that. So, yeah, there we go. So this experiment is about taking real-world measurements, and it's to test the WGS-84 model gravity predictions. So we're not making up any correlation or anything. We're testing a prediction. So the causation is already established. So when something turns around by rotation of the Earth, there's a centrifugal force. That's just normal. So that's just well-known science. That's a causation of a force, centrifugal force. There's also gravity, whether you believe it or not. There's gravity that is another force, and a pair of scales that scales measures it. So we go here. These are the formulas if the Earth were a perfectly rotating sphere. So these are the causation formulas. And because the Earth is a ellipsoid and not a perfect sphere, then we've got the gravity equations that come with the WGS-84 model. Now, I didn't make these up, but I am going to test them with my measurements. So before going to Antarctica, we did some predictions. You see, Sydney 1055, etc., and Union Glacier 1380. This is even before I set foot in any of these places. And you've seen this graph before. So the red line is what the globe model, that equation predicts that this weight, that the mass should weigh. And then the green line that closely follows it is what I measured. So we have our model and we have our test for the model by going out and doing real world measurements. And then when I normalize the results, I get the prediction is the green line, and all the measurements points pop up on the green line. I also test what's called coefficient of determination, which is R squared. And this tells us exactly how well the model predicts the results. And for my trip to Antarctica, this calculation says the WGS model explains 100% of the variation. So there was a variation in weights, but the hypothesis explained this variation 100%. So Flatzoid has said that I failed very bad in understanding about what science is, but didn't really explain that. And he says the incompetence to not even calibrate his scale has invalidated anything he had done anyway. So my reply to that is the inability to understand the experiment invalidates any criticism of the experiment. So first you have to understand what you're talking about. Now, the Flaty folly is you have to calibrate the scales every time. So this is a misunderstanding of the experiment. If we were to measure, we're not measuring an unknown mass. We always have our calibration weight. Now, if we were to calibrate the scale every time, it defeats the whole point of the experiment. You would just be proving that a 100 kilogram mass weighs 100 kilograms after calibration. And it would make the experiment similarly useless as taking a spirit level on a plane. So Flatzoid has also said that correlation is cannot imply causal relationship. And yes, that's correct. But in this case, correlation doesn't imply causation. It refers to the inability to legitimately deduce cause and effect relationship. Now, solely. So if you have nothing else, if you just have a correlation and nothing else, correlation does not employ causation. But I am not deducing the cause and effect relationship, right? It exists. Centrifugal force and gravity exists. And that is the cause and effect that I am testing. So causal analysis is the field of experimental design and statistics pertaining to establishing cause and effect. It involves correlation, right? Yes, we did correlation, the results correlate. The sequence in time, cause must occur before the proposed effect. Got that. Plausible physical or informational theoretical mechanism. Got that. We got a mechanism for the observed effect, and we eliminated the possibility of common special causes. So there is no competing hypothesis for this weight variation. So we only have one. Right, so there I calibrated the scales once, measure many, and what would cause the weight to change so significantly? And by calculation and experiment, temperature, air pressure, humidity, buoyancy, and magnetism, these have been eliminated because these effects are small. And so Flatzoid did his experiment, and he has to tell, why is that 17.5 grams there already? Never mind. But so he got a zero. These scales are meant to weigh kilograms, and he's weighing something worth 20 grams. And he thinks after he's moved the scale a little bit that a 0.1 gram is somehow significant. But this is the question I got for Flatzoid. What does this D equals 0.1 G mean? And then this is from one of my scales. What does this E10D mean? So you should know these answers. And my other question is, what is the flat Earth explanation for this? Before traveling to Union Glacier, I predicted what the weight should be at various locations. Why were the actual weights measured to be with a few hundredths of a gram of these predictions? Okay, we can leave it at that. I've got to unshare somehow.
I can stop sharing for you, that's fine.
Okay.
Got 3 minutes 20 left.
Right. I am pretty much done with that presentation. I must have rushed through it. But
okay. Right, I'll stop your time there. Thank you very much for that. Critical Think, guys, once again, you can find the information for Critical Think's GoFundMe to help cover the cost of him going to Antarctica, which he funded himself, both in the description and now, as my amazing mods, will be posting it in the chat. Thank you very much for that. Flatzoid, over to you for your 10-minute introduction as to why you disagree with everything that Critical Think has done. 10 minutes starting when you start speaking.
Cool. Actually, I don't need 10 minutes, but to say thank you, Critical Think, for coming and making my point and literally refuting your own argument in your own opening statements. You started off with saying you have correlation, not causation, so that already makes it not scientific because scientific method strictly is about the causation for the effect observed. You didn't observe an effect, you made a correlation-based faux pas when saying, I don't need to calibrate it. The whole reason you say you don't need to calibrate it is because it will give a different result. It will give the same result. So therefore, the scale is going to give a different result. Just by moving it alone changes the scale's weight. Yes, temperature does change it. Was it cold in Antarctica? Yes, it definitely was, so it would change it. If you say minuscule, but remember, you are not controlling any of your variables, so therefore it cannot anyway be a controlled, valuable experiment. Also, I would love you to actually provide us with an actual scientific hypothesis so we can go through it, because you don't really have an actual IV and DV for your presumed cause that you are claiming to be correlated. Secondly, you are saying to me that because I have a graph, therefore science. No, graphs don't make science. Graphs are just based on data that come after experimentation. You didn't make an experiment, and mine was not an experiment. It was a demonstration to show you that you didn't understand how load scales work. And yes, mine works on grams because I use it for paint mixing, which has to be very accurate within the 0.01 grams. The E is just to denote to the 10 grams. So if it gives E to 10, then you have a very fine scale. So you have a very fine scale indeed, sir. Would be great if you actually calibrated it like you would, because that means it's very sensitive to movement as well. Remember, you placed it onto an airplane with a lot of turbulence. That load cell did move out of place, and it would give a contemporary of a change in the scale. And yeah, I just think you don't understand the main basics between correlation and causation, and you don't understand that if you are using science, you have to have strict guidelines and you have to have actual control variables that you couldn't keep to. So that would be incompetency. So yeah, that's my opening statement.
Okay, well, you still had 7 minutes and 45 left. I guess I'll stop that there, and we can just go into a back and forth. Guys, we'll let them go for as long as they're comfortable back and forth. I have a hard stop by midnight because, you know, I'm a massive nerd. And on Fridays, you can catch me over on Top Hats Off doing my Star Trek roleplay where I play Commander Terrence Shelby, Chief Engineer of the USS Lexington. We have only 4 episodes left of this campaign, and so far I've only destroyed 1 solar system and then somehow got promoted. So catch that tonight at 1 a.m. on the Top Hats Off channel. But yeah, after the back and forth, we will read questions to the guys. Obviously, super chats take priority, but if you tag me or DM me on Discord or something, I will try and read those out as well. Right, guys, I hopefully won't need to get involved in moderating. You both seem to be reasonable people. I know I'm calling Flatzoid reasonable. What the hell's going on? But yeah, like I said, I've got a hard stop at midnight, but you guys can go for as long as you like up until that point. I know it's very, very early there for Critical Think, and it's starting to get late for you there, Keith. So, you know, over to you guys and just have fun.
Okay, I've got a question. So that's why you said there was no independent variable. What makes you think that?
Well, let's first set up your hypothesis. What is your hypothesis?
I've shown my hypothesis again today, and it's on every video. The centrifugal force and gravity will cause a change in weight because the gravity and centrifugal force will vary over various parts of the globe that we can predict.
Okay.
So that's the hypothesis.
So how did you vary centrifugal force?
They go to a different location.
Location isn't centrifugal force.
That's how I varied it, because it is different.
You varied
different
location.
locations.
That's again correlation, not causation. That's my whole point. You are claiming that centrifugal force, which you're trying to prove, by the way, centrifugal force. Correct?
I am verifying the WGS-84 model.
WGS-84 model is an ellipsoidal model that's got nothing to do with centrifugal force. Now, I'm asking you.
That's not correct.
That is correct. It's an ellipsoidal model.
No.
The WGS-84 is simply
the
WGS-84 is simply an ellipsoidal model that they use for surveying. You can later on expound on that to say you can make correlations with centrifugal force based on that, but you still haven't even shown the WGS-84 to be a proper model in the first place because surveying that anyway. But my point is, you claiming centrifugal force is the cause for the effect. Is that correct?
No, that's not the sole cause. Gravity variation because of the ellipsoid shape of the Earth. And you are not correct about the WGS-84 model. It does take into account centrifugal force because that formula is for the net gravity, which is the gravity minus centrifugal. So that's so you are incorrect about WGS-84 model.
Where does the WGS-84 model come from?
There's a bunch of smart people, much smarter than you or I, have brought up, have come. I test the model, right? I say, well, okay, these smart guys have come up with a WGS-84 model. I want to check if it's true or not. Let me see. Oh, this WGS-84 model predicts this. Well, I know I can go out and measure these weights and I can determine for myself, does this WGS-84 model accurately predict what should happen? And lo and behold, it does. It does, down to the few hundredths of a gram. So,
yeah, but did you calibrate scales?
Yes, of course I did. I calibrated them once, measured many. You talked about flying on the airplane disturbing the scales.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great in theory, but you've never tested it, and I have. I've flown all over the place with those scales, and when I come back home, the scales, lo and behold, they measure exactly at the point of calibration the exact same weight. So flying everywhere does not disturb the scales.
Do you know what a load cell is in a scale?
Who cares?
I care because you're using a load scale, so you should know what a load scale does. Do you know how a load scale works?
Yes, it's got a torsion measurement in it, but who cares?
I care because you are claiming science, so therefore it's under a very straight guidelines. As soon as you move a scale, it takes the calibration out.
No, it does not.
Yes, it
I
does.
told you. I told you, right? I flew with these scales to various locations, including Antarctica, come back again home, and the calibration was still intact.
How often do you calibrate your scales?
Oh, this one I haven't calibrated for 6 months.
You know, I calibrate my scale every 2 months.
That's okay.
You know,
That's
you know
because
why?
The way, that's okay. That's because the way you use your scale, right? The way I'm using the scale, first of all, I've got a very, very good scale, and it keeps its calibration. Now, I used to calibrate every trip, but I wanted to see how long I could go without calibrating the scale, and I test the calibration by weighing my test mass at the location that I calibrated it, and it holds calibration.
Okay, according to Ariane scales, anytime that a scale is moved, most scale manufacturers will suggest that the unit be recalibrated. Weighing readings fluctuating, there may be best times that you place an item scale performing the weight. Yes, moving a calibrated scale can take it out of calibration. A scale is calibrated to a specific location, and moving it can damage the load cell or throw it off its calibration. So, did you calibrate it in that location at Antarctica?
I think I explained already that would invalidate the experiment. That would be stupid.
It's not an experiment, and this is my whole point. So, in other words, you literally taking false correlations and claiming it to be scientific because you are incompetent to be able to scale to go and calibrate the scale. And I want to ask you another thing: would a 100 gram, let's say you take a kilogram scale and you calibrate it where you were, okay? Should that weight be physically heavier at the poles?
I don't know what you mean by physically heavier. What does that mean?
You said centrifugal force, so it would change its physical weight.
So something weighs, right? It's physically one mass all the time. So when the force acting on it, like centrifugal and gravity, makes the weight different. So when I take a measurement with a scale, that is a physical measurement, and the measurement will measure different, yes.
Oh, so the physical weight changes. Did you test this by calibrating the scale again to make sure that this is true?
If I calibrate the scale again, the weight won't change. It will still be 1,000 grams. So why would I do that? That's not the point of the experiment.
So in other words, it is a, how can I put it, a rigged, not experiment.
I don't know how you make that conclusion. So let me just say this. Flatzoid goes and calibrates his scale at home. Then he goes to Antarctica and he calibrates his scale again. Flatzoid has proved that 100 grams mass weighs 100 grams mass after calibration. So great experiment there, Flatzoid.
This is the, yeah, so in other words, no weight change, critical, no weight change.
Say that again?
So in other words, no weight change then. So the weight change is
No,
not,
you've been
so in other
validated-
words,
you've
no, you've
invalidated
invalidated
the
your own
weight change.
argument. So in other words, it's not the actual weight change, it is correlation based on the movement of the scale, which takes it out of its calibration.
So why, can you tell me, why do you need to calibrate a scale when you move to a different location?
I told you, because it takes it out
Tell
of its
me.
load cell, because it
No,
makes it
what
inaccurate.
is the physical reason? What are the factors that would determine that your scale would weigh differently?
Temperature, movement, if it's out of balance.
So let's say I don't calibrate my scale like I did, and I go to Antarctica and it weighs 1,003.80 grams. That's a 3.8 grams difference. What do you say makes that difference? 3.8 grams.
Could have been the weather. It's very cold there,
Okay.
correct?
Have you got any experiments or proof or calculation or anything at all that would lead you to make this conclusion? Any experiments, measurements, calculations?
I did a demonstration a few years ago where I took a bottle on a scale and I heated it up and the weight changed.
How much did it change by?
A few grams.
I want to see that experiment.
It's not an experiment. This is what I'm saying. You don't understand what experiment is.
It's a
Point is,
demonstration.
even in your opening, you literally said temperature changes the weight, correct?
That's correct. Can I ask you a question?
So
then to do with that?
So based on this,
if
if
I'm-
you're in Antarctica,
Yeah.
was it colder in Antarctica?
Yes.
So
So what would you
would the weight
expect
would the weight
temperature
change?
to do to the weight?
So would the
What
weight
would you
change?
expect? How much weight would you expect with that temperature, and in which direction?
What was the temperature?
Inside the tent, it was, I don't know, I didn't measure it, would be about 20
Incompetency.
degrees.
Incompetency.
20 degrees.
Yeah. So in other words, doesn't science have a very rigorous thing? You have to have a controlled environment. Was your environment controlled?
Yes.
You just told
Yes,
me you
it
don't know
was.
that. You just told me you don't know the temperature.
No, I don't, but I tell you this, right? I've done experiments before where I measured the temperature each time. I verified that the temperature was correct. Right? So there's no point in taking measurements of the temperature. It doesn't change anything.
Yes,
I've
it
done
does.
that experiment. I've done that control. I've done it all. I don't need to do it again.
So temperature changes it, yet you just ignore it. That is called
Okay,
a invalid.
let me ask
That
you a
invalidates anything
question.
you just said.
No. Let me ask you a question. I'm driving along the road in my car at 60 mile an hour, 100 kilometers an hour. A bug hits the windscreen. Does that change the speed of the car?
That's a total false equivalence. We are talking about science.
Can you answer the question or not answer the question? Does
No, because the
bug
mass
change
of the
speed?
mass of the car is much more than the bug. It's not going to change anything because that's not science. It's a false equivalence. It's a red herring. So I'm going back to the actual argument. You claimed your variable. You don't have to account for a control because you say so. That makes your.
So you can tell me you have the equation for how many grams per degree centigrade. Can you give me that equation?
I didn't say anything about having. Point is, you're ignoring. Wait.
You're wanting to make this inference, if you're wanting to make this claim, you need the evidence to back it up. The evidence needs to be degrees centigrade per gram. If you don't have that, then you can be quiet.
Okay, now he's starting to get angry. Okay, so I'm going to tell you again. Do you know you had more than one independent variable at play there? That's what wasn't controlled.
What are the independent variables that you are
Temperature
claiming?
was claimed. The movement of the scale was one of them. The fact that you had magnetic anomalies there as well. You know there are. How did you account for the magnetic poles there?
So I've already said, I've already done all these measurements at prior time. The magnetic field doesn't have any effect. The temperature is, see, there's an error in the measurement. All of these things are below the measurement error threshold, so they can be ignored. So unless you can give me the degrees, how many grams per centigrade, how many grams per microcool, unless you can give me these numbers, what you're saying is completely irrelevant.
Do you have scale electric?
When we heed a certain call,
Someone's got music.
must come together.
Sovereign Soul, mic check.
Okay, sorry. Okay, but I'm saying, is your scale electronic?
Yeah.
And does electronics go haywire thanks to magnetic field?
Not necessarily, no.
So you say that the electronics can't be altered by a magnetic field?
The significance, like, there's no measurable effect. I've put a speaker. Do you know how many microtorrs a speaker would generate? I've put a speaker next to my scale, and it made no difference. So I think that trumps your just saying something where I've actually done the experiment and I've tested this, and there's no measurable effect.
Just saying experiment doesn't make it an experiment. Now I'm going to tell you again. Did you account for any of these controls that you're claiming to just ignore? Because if you're claiming science, you need to have controls, and those controls need to stay constant. When you tested it at your home, Were those controls set the exact same control when you went to Antarctica?
I don't need to do that. Now, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. When you weigh your paint, do you go outside and measure the height of the tree next to your house?
Why do I need to do that?
Exactly. Thank you.
Is that science? Measuring a height of a tree science?
Of course, measuring anything is science.
Measuring a height of a tree is not science. What's the cause and effect for measuring the height of the tree? Please go. Go ahead. Tell me.
That's right. It's irrelevant. You don't need to do it.
Because
Same
it's
thing, I
not
don't need to measure
science.
the
When you're
temperature,
doing
'cause the height of
science,
the tree,
wait.
the
Let me put
height
it this
of
way.
the tree has nothing to do with the measurement. That's the science.
Okay, let's do this way.
As an engineer, right? This is my job. This has been my job for many years, right? You work out what are the effects that you need to take into account on. I've done that. I've done experiments to determine that temperature has little to no effect. Buoyancy has little to no effect. Magnetism has little to no effect. I've actually measured it. What have you done, Flatzoid?
I'm calling you out and saying it's not scientific, first of all. But I'm going.
That's just a no. That's
no,
nothing.
it's not a. You haven't provided science yet. You're saying science doesn't make it science. So I'm going to ask you again.
I'm not going to let you
is
dictate
science
what science is.
I don't.
One at a time, guys. Let Flatzoid, if you could just ask your question. Try not to, tell him what he thinks, because obviously that's getting things a bit tense. So if you could just ask your question in a polite way as possible and give Critical a chance to respond, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, cool. So Critical Think. Science is supposed to be repeatable. I think you would agree with that.
Yes.
So how do you repeat something if you don't have the same controls?
But when I'm telling you now, I don't need to keep the temperature constant. As long as I keep the temperature in the range of 15 to 30 degrees, then the scale is rated with that temperature. I've tested it that the scale will weigh the same in that temperature range. I don't need to control the temperature. That is the only control I need for temperature, is just keep it within a reasonable range.
Okay, so in case you didn't realize, you just didn't then do a repeatable experiment, and therefore it's not science. Because to do a repeatable experiment, you have to keep all the variables the same. That goes for control variables as well.
No, that's not true. There are variables that are insignificant. Temperature is insignificant. You don't have to keep it the same because it has no effect. I don't go outside and measure the height of the tree because it's not significant. I mean, the tree has mass. Maybe it will affect my scale some way. Oh, I should know. I should measure the tree. You never know. Oh my God, the tree could affect the scales. Oh.
I don't think you understand what's really going on here. I'm going to try it another way. Let's say you are trying to... I'm trying to think what experiment can we go through. Let's say you're trying to prove that conductivity creates heat energy. Okay? Now, you're going to do an experiment to do this, but now you don't have the same controls when you try and do it repeated. Will that be a valid, repeatable scientific experiment if you didn't follow the first hypothesis and experiment?
So I'm not sure what you're getting at there with that. I've repeated this experiment many times. So can you explain to me, why is the weight exactly pretty much within hundredths of a gram? Why is it within a hundredths of a gram of my prediction? It could be anything. If you're saying temperature, pressure, why is that the weight is always spot on within a couple of hundredths of a gram of the prediction? Why is that? Is that random? Why does that happen?
Well, you didn't have any controls to say what's the cause, so therefore it's not scientific.
If I had no controls, the weight would be random, right? I would not be able to predict it. But I predicted it, and it weighed within a couple of hundred grams of that. You need to explain that. If you can't explain that, then you stop asking stupid questions.
Okay, I'm going to ask another one. Did you do that? Did you do multiple weights at Antarctica or just the once?
Multiple, but you still didn't answer my
And
question.
did those? Wait. When you did,
what causes the prediction to be spot on?
Wait, and when you did those multiple measurements, did they all differ?
Of course, they're going to differ by a couple of hundreds of grams. Of course, they are.
So therefore,
why
an
is it-
invalid scientific experiment. Thank you very much. Because you cannot repeat. You cannot repeat and get the same results because you cannot control your experiment. So therefore, not a valid scientific experiment. You just literally made my
Right.
point.
Can I just want to say a few things to refute that, right? Flatzoid, you do not understand experiments. You don't understand error. You don't understand error tolerance. I know that every time you weigh something, it's going to be, I could weigh something right here now, and it would be a couple of hundredths of a gram different. But that does not stop me from detecting a difference of 5 grams, a difference of half a gram, just because the scales are not only accurate to within plus or minus 0.03 grams. That's engineering, that's science. You don't understand it. So you have not yet explained to me why the weight was a couple of hundredths of a gram from the prediction. You haven't given me that explanation. Why are you avoiding this?
Okay, I'm going to try this again. Just saying, no, you don't understand doesn't mean I don't understand because I've clearly shown you have no idea of what science really is. So let's do this to the bare minimum. What is a scientific hypothesis?
But before we move on to that, just for the sake of fairness, I did get Critical to answer your question as well. He is just asking one very specific question, and that is, why did his prediction match what was in reality?
It didn't.
Could you just quickly address that, and then we move on to whether you think it's correlation or not? Why do you think it was that his prediction so closely matched reality? And then we could totally move on to your question there, Flat, so if that's okay.
It didn't. The fact he even said he measured it multiple times and he had different measured readings. Yeah, correlation again is not causation. So I've answered it. It didn't give what you claimed because it's close enough. So therefore it's true is not science. So again, what is a scientific hypothesis? Critical think.
I don't think he answered the question. Can I expand on that?
Yeah, Flat, so is it okay if he just expands and then he answers your question? Is that all right? Just to give him a chance to respond, and then we will get to your question, I promise. Yeah, over to you, Critical.
So just because it weighs slightly different at one location doesn't explain that it was plus and minus 300ths at one location and then plus or minus 300ths at a different location, or a few hundredths, a different location, a different number, a different prediction, nowhere near the prediction of the first one, right? The predictions are vastly different, yet the scales weigh within a few hundredths of each prediction. We're not talking about the weights we take at one location. This is multiple locations with very different predictions. So how do you explain that in Santiago, it weighs 1,000.35 or something like that, and in Antarctica, it weighs 1,003.80, and I predicted it and it weighed that? How do you explain those two different locations?
Cool. Are you going to answer my question now?
Like we say, 100% will get your question, but just why do you think there is those differences? Just
already
a quick
explained it.
response. And
Already explained it. Pressure, temperature, movement of the scale, magnetic fields. If you just know what a scale does with movement alone, you'll know that it gives difference. The fact that you had little change, like you said, is literally just based on any other variable. You cannot pinpoint a variable because you didn't control for anything, which means it's incompetence, which sank this not a scientific experiment. So can you please tell me what a scientific hypothesis is, please?
Yeah, I feel like that was, even if I agree, that was an attempt at an answer. So yeah, 100%. I'm happy to move on to the next bit if you are critical as well, to just move on to Flatzoid's question. Is that okay with you?
I will. Excuse me. I can move on, but he's obviously making several errors in his logic there that I would like the chance to correct at a later point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll make a note, put a pin on that. So we've kind of done the back and forth, you can go back and kind of cover any extra points that you feel. But just for the sake of the conversation, to move on right now, give Flatzoid a chance to ask his question and then respond to that. And then
So what?
We can go back.
What is a hypothesis? Is that the question?
What's a scientific hypothesis?
That is when you make a guess about what might be causing an observed physical phenomenon.
Great. And in the hypothesis, what are the constituent variables?
It depends on the hypothesis. Are you talking our specific example or what?
Yeah, a scientific hypothesis. What are the constituent variables?
It's not just any general. So it varies depending on what you're trying to hypothesize. So in my hypothesis here, the variables are their latitude and height above sea level. That's the variables.
Okay, so the IV is latitude.
No, there's two IVs, latitude and height above sea level.
That's not, no, you can only have an independent variable, because how would you know which is the cause?
So you're able to have two independent variables. I'm sorry you don't know science.
Okay, so how do you know what's the cause if you have more than one cause?
Because you can make measurements that isolate each independent variable. Very easy.
Okay, let's do it simply. What causes fire?
Something burning.
No, something burning is a product of fire. I said, what causes fire?
A chemical reaction generates heat. What's the point?
Okay, so let me try and correct you something. When you make a hypothesis, this is why you have multiple hypotheses in a scientific experiment. That's why you have research, because they have already done hypothesis and experiment, which has either validated or invalidated the hypothesis. A hypothesis has a single independent variable, because that is the presumed cause for the effect observed. So if you are presuming latitude is the change, you have to manipulate latitude. Great. If you're claiming height is the change, you have to manipulate height. But those are two separate hypotheses. They're not the same hypothesis. You can't have them on the same. You have to test them separately, and you have to repeat them separately. You have to have the controls the same. So I'm going to ask you again. Can you give me your scientific hypothesis for what you're claiming?
I already did. I'm not going to do it again.
No, because
You're
not giving
one.
You're not giving a cause for an effect. You're not giving science. So if you can't
I've
get
already
past,
given it many times. What are you going on about?
okay,
I've already given it.
So it's not centrifugal force was the cause then?
Why are you saying that?
Because you said
you
latitude.
obviously haven't. But you obviously haven't been listening.
You said
You're not
latitude is the
learning
force.
Flatzoid.
You said,
I think you should listen more than you talk. You might actually learn something.
yeah, I think take your medicine. So you claimed latitude is the cause. Where's centrifugal force in latitude?
No, latitude is not the cause. Latitude
That's the IV. You
is
just
an
said it's,
independent variable.
that is the
And
cause. That is an IV.
Right, let's try not to overtalk, guys. That I know we like dumpster fires on the channel. Let's try and keep it as calm as possible, and give each other a chance to get their thoughts out completely. Critical, could you just take 30 seconds to clarify your thought there, and then Flatzoid can respond?
Clarify my thoughts about independent variables, right? I don't want Flatzoid to try to teach me about science, right? That's an insult. And this is the independent variable I said is latitude and height, because these two things will vary the weight. The cause is centrifugal force and gravity. Now, changing the latitude and changing the height will change the gravity and change the weight. There's nothing unscientific about that.
Okay, first of all, the IV, the independent variable, is the presumed cause. You not knowing that already shows you don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, it should be embarrassing to know a flat earther has to literally, bang your head, has to literally teach a scientist or engineer what science is if you can't even get past what independent variable. By the way, if you're claiming latitude and height is independent variable, you can't claim gravity or centrifugal force because those are different independent variables. So in other words, you got 4 independent variables for one hypothesis, which is literally pseudoscience. It's correlation, and gravity has also not gone through the scientific method to be even shown to be used for this, and centrifugal force cannot be used because you're trying to prove it's due to centrifugal force. So the cause cannot be the observed phenomena and the cause. So again, we're going back. What is your independent variable that is the cause?
Well, hold on. He even if you don't agree, Flatzoid, he has answered your question multiple times. So there's no point asking the same thing.
I understand.
Even if you disagree. So how about this? Obviously, you disagree with his what he thinks about what the IVs and that are. But within the globe paradigm, what would you suggest the IV would be for the experiment?
I don't know.
Would
Because
that be a good thing to talk about?
Yeah, because it's not my claim. I'm not someone saying it's science, because I understand shape is not science. And correlation is definitely not scientific. Yes, you have correlation. You have correlation in statistics, but that comes after causation. Correlation comes after causation, mate.
So all right then, we go back to what you said, that the weight differences were caused by density or temperature or something, all right? So these random events, somehow they resulted in a measurement that matched exactly the prediction that the WGS 84 model predicted. So how can it be that random factors like temperature, pressure, magnetism, how can these random factors magically come together and make the weight exactly within a couple of hundredths, exactly like the globe model predicts? How can that happen?
Great. I'm going to ask you I'm going to play a bit of a scenario for you, and then we're going to say how it literally plays like you. I predict that when I drive down the road, I'm going to see a white dove fly from the one tree to the other. 5 minutes later, I climb my car, I drive. Oh, I just saw a white dove fly from the one tree to the other when I climbed in my car. I claim I predicted it before it happened, so therefore I just did science, and therefore I was right. Let's put this into your perspective with you. I claim weight change about this much when I go there. I don't control for any variables. Oh, look, it's more or less in the ballpark what I claimed, so therefore science. Did that mean that what you claimed was the cause for the effect? Just like, did that claim because I predicted when I drove my car that caused the dove to fly from one tree to the other? No, correlation is not causation. So in your scientific hypothesis, you are establishing the cause for the effect. And since you don't have a cause, you have multiple causes, and you're ignoring all the controls, you have no idea what actually caused the effect observed. You even stated yourself, measured multiple times in Antarctica, and it gave different results. So therefore, your incompetence is showing you are reaching for straws to make it seem as if you have something, but you had absolutely nothing.
Well, that's a lot of word salad there. So the thing is, right, clearly you have not understood anything I've talked about. You haven't even tried to understand it. I've explained everything in detail, and you're still not understanding measurement error. You're still not understanding prediction. So you haven't answered me. How can variations in buoyancy, temperature, and I've measured like 100 times, how can is it be that every single time these random factors that you say are random and no correlation exists, how come they correlate with the prediction?
How come did the dove fly from one tree to the other?
I didn't predict any dove flew anywhere.
No, I predicted it. I predicted that, just like you predicted change.
For the sake of fairness, he has asked a very specific question.
I just answered it. You don't have to come to his rescue every time he runs away and just says, no.
I'm doing this. I think you agree, Flatzoid. I've been the same with both sides. I'm trying to just help both sides make sure that the conversation moves forward. And I'm just paying attention as to when a question is asked on one side and not really answered on the other. It's clear you don't agree with what he's saying, but his specific question is, why do the correlations match the predictions? He's not saying that correlation is science or anything. He's just very specifically asking why he made these predictions, went there, and within the margin of errors matched the predictions. Could you just give a brief answer to that and then maybe move on to another subject, if that's okay?
Well, thanks to him not using science, nobody will know that. So it's just, again, based on correlation.
How did it correlate? How did that happen? Was this magic? You get 1,000 monkeys and 1,000 typewriters. Do you think they'll type the Encyclopedia Britannica sometime? That's what you're saying.
The point is, you didn't use science. You didn't have an actual independent variable. You didn't manipulate. You didn't manipulate your independent variable, and you ignored all the controls. So therefore, it's not repeatable. And now you have correlation-based errors, and now you're trying to tell me, well, then what caused it? That's not my burden to prove your incompetence shows different correlation. You didn't have science. It's not my problem. It's yours.
Just a minute. I just got to reply to something here. So you still can't answer the question about why the correlation exists, even though there are random factors, and you deflect by saying, in your opinion, I did not do science, which is only your opinion. It's not real. So you still don't explain the science of it. You don't explain the correlation that happens to exist by some random events. We have magic, the temperature and the pressure. Magic gives the exact same prediction as the globe prediction. That's magic.
Okay, I'm going to ask you.
Do you believe in?
Okay, what was the temperature at your home when you tested the scale the first time?
So magic again.
What was the temperature? You had to log it down. You're doing science. So what was the data temperature that you took when you were at home or doing the scale test?
I did that experiment way back, about 3 years ago or something. I don't remember the exact numbers.
So what was the air pressure? What was the temperature?
Yeah, I did that experiment.
Okay.
Okay,
so you didn't have the data put down, so already invalid. Okay. Now when you went to Punta Uranus, what was the pressure and temperature again?
I don't need to take those measurements because they have no effect, no measurable effect.
Okay, then what was the temperature and pressure when you went to Antarctica?
I do have a pressure reading. I don't have a temperature reading, but I don't need to take those measurements because they have no measurable effect. Even without taking those measurements, can you explain to me? No. Let me finish. Even if I did not take those measurements, can you explain to me how the weight, even without taking the measurements, the weight was exactly within a couple of hundredths of a gram of exactly as predicted, even though I did not factor in temperature, pressure, anything. I did not take those factors. If what you said is true, then these readings would be all wrong. They would not be exact. They would be way out. They wouldn't even correlate.
Okay.
So what you said is not correct.
I'm going to put you back to where you said you did multiple readings in Antarctica and they were all different. Correct?
I think he was referring to using different weights rather than multiple readings.
No, he said he did the same.
I've been making notes as we go along. Am I wrong there, Critical? Did you refer to different?
I did. So I did readings at the shack, the halfway point, right? And I already said that on my video. And then I did a reading. I don't remember doing more than one at the camp, a Union Glacier camp. But yeah, but there have been many times where I've done multiple readings at a location. So again, a few hundredths of a gram difference is within the expected error of the measurement. It's nothing to be concerned about. My point about this is that if temperature and pressure need to be measured and I did not measure them, then why were my readings within a few hundredths of a gram of my prediction? I didn't measure temperature or pressure. Surely that would have thrown it out, way out. It should have been like 1,000 grams that is measured, 1,000 grams, maybe, or you could say 1,000.1.
Okay.
Now, if the temperature was having an effect, but I measured 1,003.8 right on the prediction, not just some little variation because of temperature or pressure. How can the temperature and pressure make that much a difference?
There's humidity at change, there's pressure at change, there's temperature at change, movement of the scale at change, magnetic field at change. Everything can play a little role. I mean, you saw my demonstration where I literally moved it 10 centimeters and I changed it by like a gram. So you...
1/10 of a gram.
Yeah, well, the point is it
Within
changed...
the error of the scales.
Yeah.
Within the error of the scales.
Okay, so anyway, the point is you are still just hand wave dismissing that you had no control of anything you claim. You didn't even take the data down for what you're claiming to be scientific. Therefore, it is not scientific from the conception till the demonstration, because it's not an experiment, till going home and you're claiming it is science. If you had to take this, and I actually urge you to do this, please take this to a scientific, reputable education system and ask them, is this scientific? They're going to laugh at you because they're going to say, first of all, you didn't follow any science. You didn't control any variables. You just handwave dismissing everything that shows you don't have data for anything, and you're just making correlation. So therefore, they're going to tell you it's pseudoscience.
I just have to close the door here. Hang on.
And to think when he did the other, wind was also another thing.
Wait,
even wind
fair,
changes.
don't say when he's not here.
Yeah, but there he is again. But yeah, did you take wind into account as well?
People complaining.
Was that a challenge there, Flatzoid, to get some kind of educational authority to check his experiment?
Yeah, send it to an educational system and see what they will say about he's not science.
Critical, would you maybe consider having some kind of peer review done on what you've done to satisfy any questions? Maybe speak to a local college or something about what you've done?
That's okay. You know, I got proper scientists who are very impressed with my work.
There's these proper scientists. They wouldn't be like McToon, would they?
No.
Great. Then I'm happy.
I'm McToon. Just ask that automatically.
So yeah, I think we've established this is beating a dead horse. He doesn't understand science, guys.
No, we haven't established that. We've actually established that you don't understand my experiment still.
It's not an
even
experiment.
Though I've tried to explain it, you're being very thick about everything, and you're still trying to deflect from the fact that a random variation like temperature and pressure can somehow be like 100 monkeys on 100 typewriters, and one of them will type a novel one day.
What is the humidity?
Why should I worry about that?
Another variable you didn't control for.
I told you already, I've done the experiment, measured humidity, measured pressure, measured temperature. There is no correlation. The effects are smaller than the measurement error. I've done the science. Why are you ignoring the science?
Okay, what happens when you take a weight up a mountain, a scale up a mountain?
It weighs different.
Does the density of the air change the weight as well?
Yes, but there's no correlation.
So was the density of the air different in your locations?
Which location?
You had multiple locations. All the densities of the airs were different. The pressures were different.
The densities are different. I already told you, explained to you. I don't know why it's so difficult for you to understand this. This has very little effect. It's not measurable. The density changing is not a measurable effect.
Is that so?
And it's a random effect. A random effect cannot produce a correlation.
Okay.
That's science for you, Flatzoid.
Okay,
Do you
so
know about science?
So
no, you don't.
So you're saying density of air doesn't change measurable weight of a scale?
Do you mean density or pressure? Just to clarify, people are asking, do you mean density or pressure there?
The density of air is based on pressure, yes.
So the bug hitting the windscreen argument, I got it.
No, that's again a false equivalence. I'm asking you specifically.
No,
if
it's not.
if you
It's
stick
exactly
a
the same.
scale in a vacuum chamber and you evacuate air, does the weight change?
How much does it change?
Quite a bit.
How much?
It
Where's
depends
the
on the weight.
experiment? Where are the
Okay,
measurements?
okay, I'm going to quickly get something. Give me 2 minutes.
Whilst he's doing that, I will quickly do some housekeeping. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you smash the like button and share the screen. Subscribe if you're not already, or I'll send Daniel Pratt to your house. Link to Critical Think's GoFundMe fundraising for his Antarctica trip is in the description. If my mods could please spam it right now in the chat. Also, February the 14th to the 16th, I will be in New Jersey, as on the 15th, I am debating Andrew Wilson at DebateCon. We're hosted by Modern Day Debates. Tickets are on sale now. Early bird prices until February the 15th, till February the 1st, sorry. VIP tickets get you dinner with the guests and signed badges from all the guests as well. So check it out on in the community post that I did a couple of days ago. All right.
Okay, I'm sending you the link.
There,
I'm sending you the link. I just want to go to timestamp 131.
All right, give me 1 second to bring this up. And I'll show that to you guys as well. 1 minute 31, did you say?
Yeah.
So he's starting off at 19.81 grams. As soon as I turn on the vacuum, though, he starts to gain weight.
That's all we need to see. Gaining weight.
He's already gained around 0.02 grams.
So the pressure reduced by about 86% and the weight went up by 0.12 of a gram.
So did pressure make a difference with the weight?
I've never denied that. But
Okay,
you
okay,
are
great.
not.
No. So I'm
So,
going to ask you again.
does it
I
slow
just
down
want to
a
finish my
car?
point. I just want to finish
Yes,
my
it
point.
does.
So
Never denied that. And how did you see that? That was an 80%, like what, 80% change in pressure. You'll never get that in the real world. And then there was whatever it was, a small change in grams. That's still not 3 grams, right? That's 0.1. So how you still haven't explained a 3 gram difference, 3.8 gram difference?
okay, so I'm going to ask you again. This was one variable. That showed the independent variable changed was the pressure, okay, the air. That was one variable. Now, what happens if you had to change the temperature as well, the humidity as well, you had some magnetic flux, and you had to move the scale? Would it give a different reading?
So yes, okay, a little bit, right? But it would never correlate. It would never line up. It would never match the prediction, because all of these things you say affect the weight. They would make the weight wrong. I would never be able to correlate the measurements if what you say is correct, right? Because the weights would be all over the place, but they're not. Those effects are less than the error of measurement.
Okay, then I got another one for you. Are you going to go again to Antarctica to make the repeatable thing and see if it gives the same results?
Oh, maybe I will one day. But why do I need to do that? Because I go many places the same over and over again and repeated this experiment many times. Why do I need specifically to go to Antarctica?
Because that's called repeatable experimentation.
But I've repeated this in many locations. Why do I need to particularly go to Antarctica?
So different locations give different results, correct?
I've been to different locations. Why do I need to specifically go to Antarctica?
No, different locations give different results.
Yeah, I've done that. Why do I specifically need to go
I'm just
to
asking. It's a yes or no question. Different locations.
No, so why? Why do I need to specifically go to
Don't
Antarctica?
ask me a question. Just answer.
You should answer the question.
Does different locations give different results?
Why do I need to specifically go to Antarctica?
I'm asking you a specific question, not go answer another question for me. What does happen when you change location? Does it give different results?
I've answered this 1,000 times, and I've told you
Mike.
already. I've gone to many locations, repeated the results. Why specifically do I have to go to Antarctica?
Did you go to those same
Just for
places?
just for the sake of fairness, Critical, would you mind just directly responding to his question, just so we can move the conversation on? He's asked, does going to different locations give different results? Would you just mind giving a yes or no answer to that?
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
So did you go to those same locations multiple times and get the same readings?
Yes.
Right.
You just said you got different readings in Antarctica. So how that doesn't make sense.
What? You said the same location get the same reading. So yes, within the measurement error, yes.
Without taking any variables into consideration.
I did take variables into consideration.
So you did take temperature into consideration. How did you account for it?
Temperature is not a significant variable in my experiment.
Can temperature change, even if it's minuscule, it can change their experiment results?
Yes.
Okay. And humidity does the same. Moving the scale does the same. If it's not calibrated, it does the same. Magnetic field does the same. How many more variables do I have to account for that is not accounted for in your not experiment?
So they're all accounted for. I've already told you many times. I'm going to repeat again. They are all accounted for because they are insignificant. So if they were significant, I would not get the result. I would not get the correlation. I would know that there is something wrong with my experiment because the results do not match exactly within measurement error. I would know that I've missed out on a variable if it does not match. I've got the correlation. How do you explain that random things like temperature, pressure, etc., can produce an exact result? How does that happen? Magic again. You like magic, don't you?
I'm gonna teach you some more things. You see, I've got one spoon here. Now imagine this spoon changes the scale on the weight on the scale by 0.5%. Now I place another spoon. I've got two spoons on there, and it changes it a bit more. And eventually, I've got 6 spoons on there. Now it has maybe a 0.25% difference. Do you understand? Each spoon represents a different variable you didn't control for. Do you understand those variables you didn't control could all together cause your discrepancy that gives what you claim to be the cause? So in other words, you can't make a deduction that what you're claiming is the cause for the effect observed. It could just be the conglomeration of all the little bitty spoons placed together.
I'm going to answer that. If what you're saying is true, then my measurements would not correlate with the prediction because all those little things, they would make the measurement invalid. They would make it wrong, and it would not measure exactly the prediction. But somehow all the little things that you want to make up and everything, they all magically make the weight go to the exact point of the prediction. Oh my God, you really do believe in magic.
Have you heard of Flatzoid before?
What?
Flatzoid.
No, I don't know about that.
It used to be the presumed cause for fire. Do you know why they presumed it to be the cause?
What are you talking about?
For the exact same thing you're doing here. It was correlation. So, do you understand when something is correlated, it doesn't make it causative? So your claim that it is the Earth rotating, making the weight change, is not showing to be true because you are giving a correlative claim, not a causative claim. Do you understand that?
So you've got it backwards. I've specified the causation. I'm just making a measurement to verify it.
No, you haven't shown any independent variable being manipulated to say that's the cause.
Yes, I have. I've manipulated latitude and height.
So latitude and height caused weight change.
Why are you so stupid?
You just told me the independent variable manipulated was latitude and height. That's the cause in a scientific experiment.
No, that's just your words. That's not the scientific method. You're just making that shit up.
So latitude and height didn't cause weight change.
No, it's the centrifugal forces. What is the independent variable for the centrifugal force is the latitude and height. That's not so difficult. Why are you making it so difficult?
So centrifugal
You're trying
force.
to play
Did you
game instead of looking at the science?
Did you manipulate centrifugal force or did you manipulate your location?
I manipulated the centrifugal force by changing location.
Okay, let's take a merry-go-round and it's spinning at, let's say, 500 RPM. Okay, does the centrifugal force change when you move location on that spinning turntable?
If you move around the rim, no, but if you move towards the center, yes.
So you have different tangential velocities.
Yes.
Great. Are you able to prove that that merry-go-round is spinning?
I think I can look at the merry-go-round and see that it's spinning. I don't know what else you want.
Okay, let's say you're an ant, very small, and it's a huge spinning merry-go-round. I'm playing Glover here, and you're going from the center of that spinning merry-go-round, and you're moving outwards towards the edge. Are you going to feel a difference in centrifugal force?
Yes, and you can measure it. And that's how you can know you're spinning.
Okay, how would you measure it?
With a measuring device.
How would you measure it?
So if you get your scales and let's just say if you get your scales and any device that measures force in a horizontal direction, you could use it even with the accelerometer on your phone. You could hold your phone up and you would see what the G forces are in the horizontal direction. And then as you move towards the outside of the merry-go-round, it will change and it will match exactly the centrifugal force formula. That's how you would measure it.
Oh, so you calculate it, you don't measure it.
Can I just find my oven mitts somewhere?
Yes, please do.
Sorry, I don't have them. Vanessa.
So I'm going to ask you again. So did you use calculation based on correlation or did you make actual measurement?
Can you ask that again, Mark?
Did you use calculation based on correlation or did you use actual measurement?
So I showed you the formula for what the gravity should be. I calculate what it should weigh and then measure, and it weighs the same. It doesn't weigh anything else. It weighs the same.
So it's
correlate. And then you correlate the result, and then you find that your prediction is matched by the measurement, and therefore the prediction is valid and relevant.
So correlative. Okay. So my point what I'm making is you claimed I can use the phone to measure the G forces. And because I'm an ant now, moving outwards to the rim, I am able to see a difference in this G forces. So therefore, my calculations show that there is a centrifugal spinning force, correct?
No. So what you've done is you've hypothesized that there's a centrifugal force, and then you tested it by first calculating what you should read on the G meter, and then going out and measuring it. And when there's a pretty close to 100% correlation, you can state, well, there's no other reason, there's no competing hypothesis. The best hypothesis I have is that I am rotating.
Great. So that's causation. I mean, that's correlation, not causation. So how do you know it was based on the spinning merry-go-round instead of maybe the phone had faulty software.
Because if the phone had faulty software, it would not correlate, right?
Oh, no.
Faulty
The software was faulty because it gave different readings in different locations. And because you correlated those different locations to that reading, your correlation-based deduction was Earth moving.
So the correlation that you're talking about does not exist. There is no known mechanism by which faulty software can give the exact same reading as a correlation with centrifugal force.
Just simplified
You're not
it.
Understanding the science. You're not understanding the prediction science. You're trying to make out like some random effect can magically give the result, the same result as a prediction. It's silly.
Okay, what I was doing was trying to make it as dumbed down as I can for you to understand that correlation does not make causation. Because you correlate different weights at different latitudes does not mean it is due to Earth's rotation. That is just your simply deduction based on correlation. You might as well just say space pixies cause this. If I go and say, it's the same as me saying, okay, you know what, guys? My weight changes in the summer and it changes in the winter. Why does it do this? I'm saying it's because of space pixies. Guess what? I measured myself through the summer and I measured myself through the winter. It changed. So therefore, the cause was space pixies. Is that a logical deduction or not?
What you've just said is a complete load of rubbish.
And that's what your globe's based upon. That is your whole experiment.
It's a false equivalence, like because you like to use that word, false equivalence. And so what
how is it a false equivalence? Go ahead. Explain how it's a false equivalence. How is it a false equivalence? No. How is it a false equivalence? Go ahead.
Okay, because you're going back to the argument again. If I measure something random, right, then something changes random. How is that a correlation? It isn't. The answer is it doesn't correlate. That's why, that's why you know it's random, because it doesn't correlate. The same that temperature and pressure and all of those things, they don't correlate with the location, right? They don't correlate. The reason why you get the correlation is because the causation exists. We're testing the causation, right? We know the causation, we're testing it, right? There is no competing hypothesis. There is no other reason for the weight to change like that, right? If you can bring up another hypothesis, I can test it. But right now I have one hypothesis and it works, 100% correlation. So why? Okay. Tell me what the other hypothesis is.
I don't need to replace your not hypothesis, but I'm gonna maybe make this another way for you, because it seems like I'm talking to a delinquent. When you go and you make, let's keep it when you go and you make, I'm making it nice words, guys. When you go and you make correlative data, okay, and you use correlative data to make a graph. Now you've got your data, great. I always see this happening in these latitudes. You didn't manipulate the cause for that. You correlatively took all the data and said, look, therefore the cause is this. You didn't specifically manipulate the cause to say that is the cause. That's what I tried to explain. Your whole globe, your non-experiment that you just claimed, is based on correlation, not causation. So it is invalid based on incompetence and not being scientific.
No, none of that is true. And I'll say again, and I have to repeat myself many times here because you still don't get it. But the correlation comes after, right? First you have the hypothesis, right? The hypothesis is gravity is result of this formula. And then you can go out and test the hypothesis, and the result is correlation. The correlation doesn't come first, right? It's the experiment comes first. The correlation is part of the measure of how significant your your cause and your effect. So how significant, how closely does the model match the real measurements? That's what the correlation is for. It's not to predict the cause. The cause is already known. There is no other hypothesis. You don't have a hypothesis for why the weight should match exactly what the globe model predicts. You don't have a hypothesis. You don't have a reason. You claim that is random effects, temperature, pressure can magically produce the same result as the prediction. So what have you got? What have you got other than, what do you got?
Is it always colder in higher elevations?
Yeah, so what do you got?
Okay, so it's always cold in high elevations. So therefore, gravity is different at high elevations, correct?
That's not an inference that's correct.
So correlation then. Because I go higher, it's colder, therefore gravity. So when you go to Antarctica, is Antarctica always colder than Australia?
Yeah, so what's the point?
Okay, so therefore when I go there, it's always colder, so therefore weight change. You understand that's correlation. Now,
so
will colder temperatures always give a reading in a certain direction compared to hotter temperatures?
No.
No. Do you know what happens to gas when it gets heated up?
Yes, it expands.
It moves faster, yeah. So when it cools down, what happens?
It gets more dense. So
it slows down. So what happens with buoyancy in colder weather?
So buoyancy would get more, the air would get more dense. Buoyancy would be stronger.
So it would give a weight difference, correct? In the same vector.
Yeah, the same as the bug hitting the windscreen, exactly the same.
Okay, so the same vector difference. Now, do you ever see Antarctica hotter than Australia?
If I take my scale inside a tent, and inside the tent it's 25 degrees, is it hotter in Antarctica than, say, Minnesota, where it might be minus 10 degrees outside?
Great. So
do you know the answer to that?
So the tent is
Tell
using...
me, what's the answer to that?
So the tent...
Is it hotter in Antarctica if I'm inside a tent?
Again, a false equivalence. Now we're making points here. So, when we got in the tent, so when we got the tent, because you're trying to obfuscate from the point they're making. So when you got the tent and you got the heater inside there, is the air now moving faster again?
The molecules are moving faster. I don't know what you mean by air moving
Great.
faster.
And when they're heating it up, is there a current inside their tent?
There may be. I don't know. Why? Why is that important?
So air moving over the scale. Okay.
Why is that important?
Great.
Why is that important?
So when you were in Australia, did you have an aircon on or a fan or a window open?
Yes. Why is that? Why is that important?
So can wind change the effect as well?
Wind can make your scales move. Yes.
Okay. And did you
That's
get different?
exactly why you have.
And did you get different readings in the tent and in that container?
They were different locations. Of course, I got different readings.
1.5 kilometers change difference, correct?
There was a 30 or so meter change as well. Plus the container could not stay still, so it was impossible to get a correct reading.
So an invalid test. Thank you for proving my point. It's over, guys. You just said impossible to get an accurate reading. So, guys, he just debunked himself.
At the container, it was pretty much impossible to get an accurate reading, but it was still within a few hundredths of the prediction. Do you realize that?
You just don't understand. You debunked it once again. It couldn't give an accurate reading. Thank you very much. You made my point.
But I know the reasons why.
This debate's over.
It was still within just a few hundredths of the reading I predicted. Even though it was a little bit inaccurate, it was still as predicted. So what's your point?
It doesn't matter because you said it's invalid because you couldn't get a reading.
I never said it was invalid. I said it was slightly inaccurate.
So inaccurate. Would you not prefer it to be accurate when making a scientific measurement?
When making a scientific experiment, accuracy is something that you work out and take into account. You never aim for 100% accuracy. That's stupid.
No,
Yeah,
no, 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 no.
just
That's
not a
statistic. That's statistics.
experiment.
That's statistics.
You never get 100% accuracy. You take the errors into account. You do an error analysis, and you work out, are your results significant, taking into account the error. That's how you do science, Flatzoid. I'm sorry.
No,
you
no,
don't
no,
know.
no. Do you count the error after or before?
I don't understand what you're asking.
Do you account the errors after or before the experiment?
The errors are done by an error analysis, by taking readings over many measurements.
So afterwards?
You don't know what the error is going to be.
It's a simple
before.
answer.
You
Okay.
have an idea, but you don't know exactly.
Okay, so afterwards. So in other words, I needed to fit my results. So therefore, let me waggle it and make it fit my results. Doesn't that sound sort of like everything your globe is based upon?
Oh, I object to that statement. That is silly, right? You cannot say that. That is the stupidest thing you've said tonight.
Okay, I'm going to put it another way. You know why you think you have Earth curve?
You tell me.
Because you misplace what we observe as perspective and call it physical Earth curve. Now what you've done with your scales is exactly the same. Guys, I have a discrepancy, but it needs to match what my model says. So let's change it to make it fit. That's called pseudoscience. That's called pseudoscience. Well done.
I don't know where you're getting this from. This is so ridiculous. You need to start again, because what you've just said is complete bollocks.
No,
Right? We're not changing anything. I measured. Do you know I measured the weight? How did I manipulate it? What you claim is I faked the results. That's what you're claiming, right?
No,
How did I fake the
I said you correlated your results to work with your model
No.
after
You said
measurement.
I made the results fit. How did I do that?
You said you do the result analysis after the experiment and you
The
make
error analysis. That is not making the results fit.
So
I am objecting to what you're saying. You are completely incompetent. You don't know anything about science, and you just got the smug look on your face.
Dude,
right?
I've
You
got
need to
this. Do you know
explain.
why
You
I've
need
got
to
this smug
explain
look
it.
on my face? Because you're totally showing your ignorance to this whole thing. So I'm going to ask you again. Did you manipulate the data correlation after the experiment or before?
I did not manipulate anything. What the hell are you talking about?
So what was the error reports? What is your error analysis based upon?
The error is an analysis. It's not a manipulation.
What does the error analysis tell you?
It tells me that the error in the scales is somewhere around 0.03 standard deviation, or I can't remember the exact number. That means that the measurement is valid because the difference from location to location is far greater than the error. That's what it says.
So in other words, let's just ignore all variables. Let's just say it's fine because it's close enough. Good, there we go.
No, let's not ignore the variables. Let's take every variable into account. Let's make our measurements. Oh, look, they match the prediction. Oh, there must be some magical monkeys on typewriters somewhere, because obviously temperature and pressure did not take into account. So therefore, there's a magic monkey on the inside the scale, or doing something or something. Some magic happens in the scales that the result exactly matches the prediction. What magic is that, Flatzoid?
Again, this is exactly what your globers always do. You have discrepancies, and therefore your error is based on correlation to your predicted model. So you make it fit your predictive model. Do you think you would have had the same readings, which was inaccurate, as you said, if you took all the variables into account, the controls?
Can you repeat that? What was that again?
If you took all the control variables into account, do you think you would have the same reading?
The readings vary because of there's a natural error in the readings. So they vary by a couple of hundreds, a few hundreds. No matter where you go, you're going to get a variation. And I can test that variation by measuring 100 times at the same location. I don't need my results to work out the error in measurement, right? You can measure 100 times in the one location, and you know that you can work out your error from that. So I don't understand the question. I don't know why you have some random effects like temperature and pressure, how they can magically match the prediction. You've never answered that in this debate. You still don't answer it. Can you give me a plausible explanation of why the measurement that I go out in the real world matches exactly what was predicted? And when I say exactly, I mean within the bounds of error of measurement.
Did you or did you not say that your scale was inaccurate?
I did not say that, right? I've said the scale has an accuracy, right? Now, if you want to compare that to 100%, then you can define that as connect, but we never do that. Can you answer my question?
So was the contain? This is me answering it. This is me answering it.
I have a question first.
This is me answering it.
My question about why do the measurements match exactly the globe prediction? Can you answer that?
This is my answer, and you're not going to like it. The answer is you didn't have a scientific experiment.
Okay, let's just assume that what you said is true. How can I do something just random and wrong and everything, and it wasn't science? Even if that were true, how is it that the weights match exactly within the error of measurement with what the predictions were? If I did it wrong, it wouldn't match.
Did you put those measurement errors before the time or after the time?
Can you answer? How does it match?
You just said it matched within the measurement errors.
No, how does it match?
You told me, wait. You said it matched within the measurement errors.
I'm sorry, I'm not going on any further until
it didn't match. It didn't match.
Sorry, no.
It didn't match. You know why it didn't match? I'm answering you, Craig. You don't want to be answered.
Sorry, question.
Okay, so Craig's muted. Okay, anyway. So
sorry, my bad. Right, I was trying to calm down so I could muted myself. Obviously, right? Yeah, let's bring it back down a second. Critical, could you just take 20 seconds to just clarify your question, and you in as few words as possible, but try and make it succinct. And Flats, if you could just give a direct answer to his question and see where we can go from there, please. Okay.
Okay.
It's the same question. How is it, if I was doing everything wrong, how could it possibly be that the measurements match the prediction within a few hundredths of a gram? How could that possibly be? What's the explanation?
It doesn't matter because you can't make it causation deduction because everything was done wrong. It could be pixie dust from space. I can make a claim and a prediction saying it was pink pixie dust. Now you got those.
For everyone, yeah, just to clarify for everyone, are you claiming that it's just a coincidence? Then it is. I don't want to strawman you, and
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it.
Critical has asked specifically why he made a prediction before he went, and then he got there and it matched the prediction. And you're kind of just, again, I don't want to strawman you. I just want it for the audience to be clear. Yeah, what I gather is you're saying it doesn't really matter. It could be any reason. There's no way to tell, so it's just a coincidence. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, you can take it that way, but you can also say it could be there could be a different cause, could there not?
If there was a different cause, how could it possibly correlate? Again, you're invoking magic, right? Coincidence in this case is the chances of it being coincidence. I've done the analysis. Is like 1 in about 1 followed by at least 25 zeros. So I hope you're not a betting man. Flatzoid.
Okay, and what is the based on your heliocentric model, what is the chances that Earth should be Earth and we are supposed to be here as humans? What is the chances that Earth is a habitable planet in the solar system? Let's put it that way. How much zeros is behind that?
I don't know.
Much
Well,
more
they-
than what
they-
you just correlated. So did that happen according to your globe model?
The chances of Earth being habitable within our solar system would be 1 in 8, right? Because there's 8 planets in our solar system.
Well, let's say in the universe. Have we found any habitable planets in your guys' fantasy?
Proxima B has a possible
irrelevant
Earth-like atmosphere, but yeah.
Well, let's put it this way.
Could you try and clarify your question, because I don't think anyone really understood what the question was there, Flat.
In other words, it's so impossible for something to be the way it is based on your globe model that we live now and have life and everything and working perfect in harmony, much more than he's 25 zeros he just put to that coincidence. And he's trying to say something that's more possible to happen to his coincidence is less likely to happen than what you guys claiming to happen with just everything as we are living right now. That's my point. But the thing is, I'm saying it's not coincidence. There could be a cause for it. It has to be because it's observed, as you say. What is the cause? You don't know because you didn't science it. You just correlated it and claimed it's a spinning Earth. Get it?
False.
What's false about it?
I didn't claim. I made the hypothesis. I measured in the real world, which is what you do in science, and then I've correlated the result. And because there's no competing hypothesis, this hypothesis is almost 100% likely to be true.
How? How do you know it's the cause if you didn't actually manipulate the cause?
Well, I did. Sorry, you haven't.
No, you didn't.
Understood.
Location change is not centrifugal change.
I have manipulated the cause. This is just you saying something that's not true.
What, just saying I'm saying something's not true doesn't make it not true. So I want to know, how do you know it's the cause?
We better be quiet now because I will start to delve into the insult area, and I need.
You already did ages ago.
It's been relatively calm.
You're actually doing a good job tonight, Craig. Although
I'm trying my hardest.
Although you did try and help him a few times, but
well, I wasn't trying to help him. I was trying to help the conversation. I think I tried.
But I think you did a good job, so I'm giving you ups to that.
Your chat timed me out for some reason, Flats. I thought I was being nice over there, and they just timed me out anyway.
Ah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so yeah, I think I've made my point. He hasn't brought science. He hasn't done anything other than correlative gestures, and he doesn't even understand what science is.
I'm sorry.
And now he's losing his mind.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
I think that's everyone can understand how Critical Think thought about what you just said there. It was quite clear his response in that case. All right, so yeah, there's no point kind of dragging it out. I've got some questions, and guys, if any more questions for either Critical or Flats, please send a super chat. You're right to go through a few questions and that stuff, guys.
Yeah, and same this guys. If you got anything for them, let us know. I think I do have a few already.
Before that, I did make a note that something Critical wanted to go back on. Critical, you wanted to expand on the difference in location and what that meant for the weight difference.
Yeah, I tried to cover that. So we're getting nowhere. So no point in.
Okay, all right. I did make a note that you wanted to go back to that, but if you're happy to move on to questions, then that's cool. All right, let me just go through. Signal Step $5 says, this is way too early. My credit card hasn't paid off yet. And I think the last few went to Craig McToon. Check that, please. Just ask Santos Bonacci. I am MC Toon, apparently. Did you see that, Flats, by any chance?
No, I haven't watched it yet. I still want to. I'm just
Santos
scared. I
Bonacci
don't
demanded a
because I
date.
don't watch Sanchez. It's going to be quite painful.
Oh, it was painful. He demanded a debate with me. He sent me days worth of insulting emails because he thought I was MC Toon. And even though I told him that I wasn't MC Toon. And then he rage quit after 18 minutes when I pointed out he was on the run from the authorities. That was fun. Total Moves £2 said, you're moving your own credit card, Signal Step. Right, let me see if there's any questions for Flats here. Patrick Ninterman says, Flats, are you pretending to not understand the experiment, or do you just really not understand?
Or maybe I do understand, and I've literally shown he has no idea what cause and effect is.
Any response to that, Critical?
Well, I'm sorry that Flatzoid doesn't understand science.
Yeah, the
Fair
guy
enough.
says the guy that doesn't know what an IV is.
Says the guy that doesn't know what an IV is. That's correct.
It's the independent variable, the presumed cause that you manipulate in the experiment,
How
which
to
you didn't do.
manipulate the variable. You don't know how to do science.
Oh, really? Is that so?
Yes.
Want to test that out?
Yes.
Okay. How are you going to test it out? Go ahead. Ask me.
You do my experiment. And,
Yours isn't an experiment.
Hypothesize, do it the correct way with science, and make a hypothesis and do everything. You do my experiment, do it the way it should be done.
Okay. If you change location, different
No,
dynamic.
I don't want to hear about it. I don't.
You just told me you want to do it. I'm telling you now.
Come back.
Oh no, I thought
come
you
back
said
and-
you want to test me on this, so I'm going to do it for you now.
Yeah, this is what the test is.
We
You're gonna do the experiment.
we observe different
Do the
changes in
science.
weight when changing location, and the changes are due to multiple variables. We take
You
in
do the
account
experiment and you do the
the
science
experiment.
and show how it's
The experiment is based
Show how
upon
it's done.
the
Flatzoid.
core. I am going to say I can take a weight in and
No, I don't want to
I
hear
can
what
take
you
a
want
weight
to say.
in.
I
Wait.
want to see
I'm going to
you-
give. I'm going to. Why don't you let me
Just
talk?
give him a chance to finish what he's saying, and then maybe you can challenge him to actually do it.
Okay.
But yeah, just do give him a chance to finish the words that he's trying to get out.
Okay, sorry about that.
Hypothesis.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be fair to both sides.
Okay. Hypothesis. When place a weight on a scale in a vacuum, the independent variable which causes the weight to change is the medium to weight ratio. So when I manipulate the medium, the weight will change. There we go. That's the hypothesis experiment and repeatable, and it's always shown. Next.
That's my experiment. I want you to do my
Yours is not an experiment. I
No,
don't
no.
need to do your dumb thing. That's not an
Right,
experiment.
just give him a chance to respond. I did give you a chance.
So you said I don't know science. You should do it the correct science way. Do my experiment. Do your
Yours
way
isn't
at
an
various
experiment.
locations. Do it the way that I should do it, according to the proper science way. Go to various locations and do the experiment, and let me see your analysis.
Okay, I'm going to tell you again. What you did was not an experiment. It is not my burden to try fix your not experiment. You said I don't understand science, so I just gave you a scientific hypothesis and repeatable experiment that you can do yourself. You, on the other hand, have given correlations by ignoring fundamental things like temperature, pressure, wind, humidity, change of movement, everything, and just say, well, it's close enough, so therefore it's true. You, sir, don't have a cooking clue what's going on. I have a repeatable scientific experiment I just told you. You don't. So trying to trying to reverse the burden onto me because you failed to do so doesn't work, man.
Right, let's let as the final word on this point, then move on to the next question, okay? Go on, Critical. You just have the final word on that there.
Okay. In your experiment that you measure your weight, is there any correlation in your experiment?
Causation. Correlation comes after causation.
Right, okay, that's certainly clips. All right, Eclipse Chris, £2 says, Flatzoid, there is 2 polar rotations. This only works on a globe. It's not flat.
2 polar rotations works on a donkey Earth if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. Always moves east to west, no matter where you are on where you stand. The nice thing is we stand on a flat Earth and we observe these using elevation angles, which requires the Earth to be flat.
Eclipse Chris for £2 says, Flatzoid, location is a variable as you vary your location.
So cause for weight change is location, not centrifugal force, so therefore not spinning Earth. Cool.
Critical, any thoughts on that?
No.
Eclipse Chris says, Flatzoid, science is not what you think it must be.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
You think you can Jedi mind trick me? Come on. JSS Tiger, $5 says, Flatzoid, what science degree or other scientific qualifications do you have?
Don't need a science degree to know what the scientific method is and how it works. Just like you don't need to own a Ferrari to know how the mechanics of a Ferrari works.
Critical, what about you? What science degree or qualifications do you hold? Or engineering qualifications or anything?
Bachelor of Electrical Engineering and a Master of Engineering Science.
Amazing.
And
so
he doesn't know what an
IV
IV is. That's amazing.
I mean, I think his professor would disagree, but
Howie Alting. That's all you got. Insights.
Okay. Then how do you have to manipulate the independent variable?
We've got enough. We've had enough of this circular
I just want to
argument.
know.
Can we get on? Can we
I just
go
want to
on?
make the point. Do you have to manipulate
Oh,
the
I don't
independent
want
variable?
to hear any of your rubbish. Okay, go on.
Do we have to manipulate the independent variable? That's all I'm asking. Do we have to manipulate the independent variable?
Stop the stupid business. Just carry on.
Yeah, so he makes my
He
point.
doesn't
Well
want to
done.
answer, so we can move on from that. Okay, Valentin Damyanov, and I do apologize if I get your name wrong, $4.99 says, Flatzoid, what have you worked or what do you work as that is related to science? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to, because that is a personal question.
I'm a qualified professional spray painter, and I work with scales every day, measuring different densities and literally changing my independent variable, which would be color change, to get the result. So in theory, it's scientific.
Have you ever thought about putting like a GoPro on, just recording yourself spray painting? Because those kind of videos kill it on shorts.
I did at a stage, I made like 3 or 4 different spray painting videos, but it's just too much of a rigmarole at work. I'm so busy.
Even just like sticking a GoPro camera on and like just getting on with your day. I'm just saying, because honestly, the amount of those kind of things that appear on my feed and then I'm just staring at them for 5 minutes watching someone spray paint a wall. Eclipse Chris, £2 says, for Kutz, can you get the exact same orange to repeat? Oh, I think he's talking about your experiment with the orange peel. Can you repeat the exact same experiment if you don't have the exact same orange?
Yes, because an orange is an orange.
And are all oranges exactly the same?
No, because the thing is not about the orange, it's about the density of the orange. So it's the changing in density and the displacement ratio it has with the medium around it. You don't need to use an orange per se, you can use any object because again, it's about changing the displacement ratio between the object and the medium.
Any thoughts on that, Critical?
No, we're all good.
JSS Tiger, $5 says, Flatzoid, quantify with maths the effect of the lack of calibration.
How the hell do you do that? It's just if it's not calibrated, it is inaccurate, so therefore gives a false reading. So therefore data is false and a lie to claim it is scientific data because why? False data.
Critical, about you, what is the effect of the lack of calibration?
So the effect, in my case, the lack of calibration is a key to the whole experiment. And there is no lack of calibration. I calibrate once, measure many. And this allows me to measure the effect of no calibration. And funnily enough, it correlates to exactly what the globe predicts. Funny about that.
Do you know what calibration is?
Yes.
What's calibration?
The scales need to be adjusted for location, because if you don't adjust them, then there is a different gravity at different locations, and you will not measure an unknown mass correctly if you don't calibrate the scales.
No, it gives a different baseline reading. That's why it's calibrated. Calibration gives a baseline reading. So if you move the baseline reading, the baseline changes. So therefore, you can't have the same measurement because the baseline has moved.
Yeah, because of gravity. That's right.
There's no such
You
thing
are
as
correct.
gravity. No, I didn't say anything about
No,
gravity.
no, it's
It's
not. I
about the
measured it.
scales
It's not a
mechanics.
fallacy.
It's about the scales mechanics. So yeah.
No, it's far less about the scales mechanics.
Dude, I
Do you
work
know
with
what the
scales
margin
every day.
of error scale is off by hand?
Say what?
Do you know the margin of error of your scales off by hand?
My scales, it's about 0.03. It's claimed 0.1 grams, but my measurements make it about 0.03.
Here's E10.
And how close to your margin of error was the reading out? You were saying it's a couple of hundred milligrams.
In Antarctica, 0.02 was the difference.
And
so
the margin of error is
the scales are claimed accurate to 0.1.
Right. Okay, right, cool. A few people asked that, so I just thought it'd be interesting to know. Dieth the Fourth with the 20th Super Channel, thank you, $5 Flatzoid. You mentioned you did experiments. Did you make sure the GPS location was exactly the same as your control, or are there variables that are not important?
What has a GPS got to do with my hypothesis and experiment that I made?
I think he's just asking, do you have to literally check everything? Like, did you confirm that you were where you said where you thought you were, and it mapped GPS so you could, or
Location was not part. Location
to?
wasn't part of the experiment, so no. When you have an experiment, you have controls. It's usually part of what the experiment details. So your control would be something that could manipulate or change the result. He did not control for any of these things. When I made that experiment now, there was no change location. It was in the same location. So no need for GPS coordinates. It's literally a red herring.
Any response, Critical?
When Flatzoid moved his scale, he didn't calibrate or even check that it was still level, and the change was within the error of the scales. So it proves nothing. I don't know why he's trying to make a point out of that.
Moving the scale takes its calibration out.
So
and by the way, an aluminium
recalibrate
flat
your
top
scale?
is...
You did not.
I literally recalibrate my scale, like I said, every 2 months.
In your video, you moved your scale. You didn't recalibrate it.
Because I just showed it changed the... I took a reading and I moved it and I took a reading.
Scale.
Because I showed you when you move it, it takes it out of calibration. That was the point.
Yeah, so you didn't recalibrate it.
Because it was showing your idiocy. It was literally showing demonstration to you why you got the result you did. Because you moved it.
So it was within
Are you
the
so slow?
measurement error. So it's nothing. It's a nothing burger.
In other words, it didn't change the weight. The weight was the same. It gave a different reading.
In other words, when I move my scale, the weight changes exactly as predicted by the globe model.
So the weight...
I don't...
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Possibly be.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
I know,
Is a kilogram...
Some magic.
Okay. Is a kilogram a kilogram?
A kilogram mass is a kilogram mass, wherever you go.
Thank you. A kilogram mass is a kilogram mass wherever you go.
But it weighs different.
Okay, does a kilogram mass weigh different as a kilogram mass?
Huh? Yeah. Can you explain the question?
You said the mass is the same, but it weighs different. Does a
Yeah,
kilogram
that's
of
what
mass
the
weigh?
experiment-
Does a
that's what the
kilo?
experiment measures.
Does a kilogram of?
It's
Does a
different.
kilogram of mass weigh different than a kilogram of mass?
Yes, it weighs different at different locations. It's the same kilogram mass. It's not a different one. It weighs different at different locations.
I rest my case.
That's my whole experiment. Why are you laughing? That's my
I rest my
experiment.
case.
So to clarify, the mass of the object is different to the weight of the object. Flats. That's I think what's Critical was trying to get at there. The mass would be 1 kilogram.
And how does he
whereas
know
the
this?
Weight you're measuring like newtons.
And how does he know this?
Sorry, how does he know what?
How does he know this difference that a kilogram is different than a kilogram?
By weighing it.
Without calibrating it.
Correct. That's how you tell.
I rest my case, guys.
Or calibrate
That-
one.
JR.
Weigh. I rest my case.
JR with their 5th super chat on the channel says, Flatzoid, I don't think there's a word that can accurately describe the magnitude of just how much you don't understand. That's just more of an insult. You don't need to respond to that if you don't want to.
It's simple. Saying you don't understand didn't debunk me. It doesn't refute me in any way. And that's all I got tonight is you don't understand. That means you don't have an answer.
That you don't understanding is just a fundamental thing. Everybody who knows something can see clearly you don't understand. Sorry about that.
I hope you looked in the mirror when you said that.
Let me just see if there's any more questions for you. Theodore Paul 499 says, Flatzoid, why are you so arrogant? What experiment have you done sticking to the standards you are demanding? What is the cause of denser stuff going down LMAFO?
Relative density disequilibrium has been explained many times. Even your gravity literally relies on relative density disequilibrium. Like I said, stick a man on a scale, or object on a scale in a vacuum. The manipulated variable was the medium, so the ratio between the displacement between the object and the medium changes its weight, and therefore it has to either go down or up because the air can either support it or it can't. It's medium dependent. Always the manipulated variable is the medium and object ratio displacement ratio. There we go. And this is repeatable constantly, always.
Any thoughts, Critical?
Oh, not taking notice of that word salad. Thanks.
Eclipse Chris for £2. I'm going to paraphrase what he says here. Do you think that if you took your version of science to actual scientists, you would get laughed at, Flatzoid?
What version? It's the scientific method. It's not my version. There's one version. It's the method.
Well, I mean, there's more than one scientific method, but yeah, I guess the question is, if you went to a scientist and explained what you understand about science, do you think they would agree with you?
Because it's the method, yes.
Well, again, there is more than one scientific method, but that's not what I'm asking.
It's the method.
But yeah, there is a method. I've
Sorry, I don't know. Maybe it's just my English, but last time I checked, method is singular. Methods is plural.
Yeah, there's a scientific method for like different fields of science have their own scientific method. You know, different industries have their own scientific method. I mean, I'm not arguing. I'm just kind of so that he can understand. He's just asking, if you went to a scientist and explained how you understand science, do you think that they would agree with you? Or
Yeah,
do you think they would
because I
laugh?
present the scientific method.
Right, okay. The scientists in my chat are disagreeing with you. That's strange.
They're not
They
scientists.
would agree with me, and they have.
Okay.
Just seeing if there's any more. Johnny 46BA £5 says, Flatzoid, what direction does the sun rise in South Africa during the solstice? Is it south of due east or is it top left?
Top left. Wait for my video where I did the observations, which shows it to be 5 degrees off of the globe prediction. 3 times. That's called testable, repeatable
And he needs to
observation.
answer the question.
I just did. 5 degrees off.
I didn't hear any directions in there. Which direction? South?
You'll see my video when it comes out. And when it sets, it's
Okay.
also off, by the
So
way.
no answer.
If you watch my lives, you would have seen it, Critical. Not
What if I
100,
didn't watch?
not 118 degrees southeast, as the globe says, just to let you know.
Right, let me just see if there are more questions. Guys, thank you very much for the super chat support. Mr. B says for $5 Australian, Flatzoid, being repeatable means that you can go and repeat the test yourself.
Yeah.
Not really a statement. Okay, these are just insults. I'll read them once you're not here.
Thank you.
DJ Most for €5 says, Flatzoid, what object did you use to verify density, magnetism, etc. affects falling speed? And where can I see a video of it? If there's no video, then it didn't happen.
He gave a hypothetical to understand, so I told you what the scientific hypothesis and experiment would be. We just saw Action Lab actually do it for you as well. So,
Okay. Don't think that's actually any. Honza Kuf for 50 CZKs. Flatzoid, what is the difference between mass and weight? How can you be weightless but still have inertial mass?
you still need mass. Everything at substance has mass. The thing is, your density determines how much you weigh.
One more, there was a question for that I may have missed.
In other words, simply, how much stuff is crammed into a volume?
No, I think that's all the questions for you from my side. Is there any questions on your side for critical?
I'm just looking through. It's more statements than questions there. But I'll start at the top. $5. Thank you, Stroops the cat. He says, well, if it isn't old Craig.
Stroops. It's all right. Stroops is upset because he's realized that literally nobody likes him. Sorry.
Okay, the next one's $5 for him. I'm sorry, I don't have as much as you, so I'm going to read them all out. Is that fine?
Go ahead.
If TFE looks like a butch lesbian I've ever met. Thank you, Stroops.
Right. Can you stop hitting on me? Right. I know you all have pictures of me and you won't mind. Right. You know what? If you guys are excited here, there's something to look at for you. Okay. Is that enough?
I must say, Craig, you have definitely improved, man.
Thank you. I've worked bloody hard, mate. I'm only like 1.5 stone off my target weight.
Very good. Stoops the cat again. Gay.
Are you, Stoops? I mean, it's cool. I've got nothing against homosexuals in any way. I'm glad that you finally come out of the closet. I would say your friends be happy, but you don't have any, so never mind.
And then Stoops the cat again. That's not how moderating works, Craig.
I think I've done pretty good at moderating today. I feel like I've been fair to both sides. I've tried to get both sides to answer questions, and I've tried to keep it calm. I'm not a moderator in general, but I've been trying to do some moderation, and I am trying to moderate the way that I would like to be moderated. And I feel like I've been fair. Any criticism is welcome, as I am constantly trying to grow. But Stoops the cat, your opinion means nothing, so shut the fuck up.
And then Tony Whitcomb for £10, he says, critical think. Before you even start, you need scientific evidence of gravity as your prerequisite for you to have an opinion.
No, that's not what I wasn't. I was testing, assuming that gravity exists. Can we measure an effect and verify this? And I verified that gravity explains the variation in weight. That's the scientific method.
So it wasn't centrifugal force then?
Say that again. What?
So it wasn't centrifugal force that changed, and now it was gravity.
Well, I was simplifying it a bit. Gravity and centrifugal force combined will cause a change in weight.
Oh man, making my point more. Thank you very much. Okay, from Kunal Chatterjee, thank you for your $5. He says, in Anchorman, where's Mantooth about Brick Tamland? Even the guy who can't think says something. That line describes critical think perfectly today. And then Tony Whitcomb for his £5. He says, Flatzoid is debating Donk from Crocodile Dundurp. Thank you for your super chats, guys. You rock. Is that all the questions you have?
There's one more coming for you, Flatzoid. That's okay. Eduardo Ferrezo with their 20th super chat on the channel, $5. Thank you. Flatzoid, could you do the experiment changing pressure in a similar amount of change from Australia to Antarctica?
if you took a controlled environment, yes, you can take a vacuum chamber and you can seal it off to compensate for all the controls and do the same, exactly the same, yes.
And Earth is Life asks you, Flatzoid, why did Wolfie and Critical Think get the same result when they did the experiment?
Wolfie was on a plane when he did it, moving plane.
Well,
No, it's not the same experiment.
Yeah, he's done it in stationary points as well,
Okay.
and got the same results as Critical.
Like I said, correlation doesn't mean causation. There could be a cause for it.
Repeatable. It shows it's repeatable.
No, just shows there could be a cause for what you observe. What is the cause? You don't know because you didn't make an experiment. You correlated.
We did make an experiment. We made a hypothesis, did the measurements, correlated the results. That's the experiment.
You didn't manipulate the independent variable because you don't even know what
Yes,
what
of
an
course we
independent
did.
variable is.
Have you been smoking again?
Okay.
Sorry.
Is it gravity or is it centrifugal force or is it location or is it height? Which one?
I will explain again. Thank you. The location and the location determines what your gravity will be at that location. Gravity and centrifugal force combine to form a downward force, which you measure by the scales, and you manipulate that gravity force by changing your location. You manipulate your independent variable by changing your location. So I don't know how many times I have to explain the same
Okay,
thing.
guys, I'm gonna play this back to you. The Justice League needs all the members, or it's not the Justice League. There we go.
Batman's the Justice League. Stringfellow Hawk says, Flatzoid, to be clear, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to laugh at you. We are all laughing. Yeah, that was the last one. Right, I want to say thank you to both of you guys. It's been mostly calm and respectful, and I hope that you both feel that I've been fair to you as a moderator. I have tried my best. Criticisms are welcome because I am new at moderating and trying to grow. Critical, I know it's extremely early for you there, so I want to actually say, a special thank you to you for getting up at 3 a.m. for you to do this.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know it was
Yeah,
that
so
early for you.
I hope you appreciate that because
Yes,
the global time zones and stuff. And once again, guys, Critical did go to Antarctica, but unlike a lot of the others, Critical had to fund the trip himself, and it's not a cheap trip. In the description, and thanks to my mods in the chat right now, is a link to his fundraising. And instead of super chatting me anymore for the rest of the stream, could you please give anything that you would have given to me to Critical Think, because he spent a lot of money going there off his own back trying to get the data that he did. Whether Flatzoid agrees with it or not, he certainly did go there and get a lot of data that is extremely interesting to look at. I heard you got quite ill while you were there, Critical.
Not too bad. Not quite ill, right? It was a mild case of flu, but it was over in a few days. But I did cough and splutter for about a week after.
Yeah,
but
it was
otherwise, not too bad.
It was Witz's vaping, man. He breathed on you.
Fake gay. But yeah, also congratulations for spending 10 days with Witsit and not getting put in jail. That's always some kind of a compliment.
Next up, it's your turn, Craig.
But yeah, my wife's coming with me, so I'm definitely, she's going to make sure that I'm behaved. In 28 days, I meet Witsit Gets It. What fun.
And just tell him, Flatzoid says personally hello.
Okay, so Flatzoid says you're a cunt. Is that right? But thank you. Yeah, thank you to Flatzoid as well. I know it is getting, what is it, just past midnight there for you?
Yeah, 10 past 12. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, so thank you as well. I know it's not too bad, but I know that you work hard every day, so I do appreciate you taking the time to come on. And I do appreciate the fact that the past couple of debates you've had on the channel have been mostly respectful and calm and easy to kind of deal with, and it's made it easy on me being a new moderator, so I do appreciate that. Thank you to everyone in your chat, even you, Mr. Cheswick. I know I live in your head rent-free. It's dark, damp, and smells slightly of cat wee, so you might want to deal with that. But yeah, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to shut down the stream now and read the rest of the super chats. And I want to say thank you again to both of you for having an excellent debate. Guys, remember once again, help out Critical Think with his fund me to cover the expense.
Yay! There we go. What do you guys think?
Great sight.
This is one observation, and it just pop up in my mind. You know, I was mentioning about this on the chat. What if, and I'm asking just what if toroidal field and moving up or down of the center of toroidal field is affecting and they're bringing exactly this data, these measurements?
There's many things that can cause it.
Yeah.
That was the whole point.
I never
He's
thought
just
about the toroidal
correlating
field
it.
and the freaking measurements. You know, it just
Yeah.
pop up in
Well,
this conversation.
I kept trying to, I was hoping you'd look over here at the private chat or something, because I wanted you to ask him, because he kept going on about just like Craig, and it matches exactly my predictions. And then I would have wanted you to ask, can we see your calculations for your predictions?
Yeah.
Where are your calculations for these predictions, so that we can see if your predictions were actually your predictions, or if you're just saying, yep, that's exactly what I predicted. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I
think
did
I
a
made
great
it very
job with him. You destroyed him, man.
It
Just
was a
said
belly
the
laugh.
truth.
I just
was
want to know
shocked.
how the guy is a scientific engineer or whatever, but he doesn't even know what an IV is.
You don't have to be a scientist to be an engineer.
No, you
That's-
said specific. It's specifically a scientific engineer, whatever that is.
Oh, that I
Yeah.
don't believe that's. Is that really something?
I was
Matthew,
hoping
I think
I'm
you were
gonna look.
cooking out a little bit, Matthew.
I'm gonna look.
I just want to say it would be the better one side, of course.
I was chuckling on the other side of the screen, man. It was a belly laughter.
When he's
I
gonna, yeah.
wanted to ask him with, or if he could define mass with physics.
This is
I
like
want-
you said,
the projection is
kilogram.
amazing.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you're still talking.
Well, he definitely listen. This is from Penn State Department of Engineering, Science, and Mechanics, and just based on his little experiment. Listen to this. What do engineering scientists do? The unique knowledge and interdisciplinary skill set of engineering scientists allows them to merge multidisciplinary, and there's that word again, resources to propose and develop innovative, enduring solutions and transform the latest scientific discoveries into. And then that's what I wanted to point out. Let's see.
So in other words, that's word salad.
Into enabling new technologies. But what I found was interesting was that it says the interdisciplinary skill set, which would mean, following a scientific method, which he obviously did not do.
Yeah. And if you weigh a kilogram and it weighs differently from a kilogram, then it's not a kilogram.
Well, I heard that a pound of gold weighs more than a pound of feathers.
Yes.
So,
This is the effects of so much.
and that came from a 3D printer engineer that I heard about.
And photographer for 40 years.
Yeah, and professional photographer that can't focus a camera.
Yeah.
So guys, we have 395 votes. Fake TFE had science. Nope, 36%. No, 16%. Yes, 43%, and maybe 5%. So nope wins because nope and no stick together, which should be well over about 60%.
Oh, they did a great job. So it really said everything.
When you first started, that Craig donate all of his.
See his face.
Dude, I was cracking.
Yeah, because he's pushing him to they should help him. Like, okay, take all your super chats and give it to him, then.
I know. I mean, that's the first thing they said was like, goes. I mean, ask after the debate, not before. Come on. Yeah, he's right. You're right though. Like I think he just done that at the end because of what you said at the start. I think he probably wouldn't have done that otherwise. I might be wrong, but I doubt it.
Look, if you would take under control all those things, and temperature, pressure, everything, then and only then we can call it experiment. But because he didn't do it, by definition, we can't call it experiment. Very simple.
He said to you about Flaty, he kept saying, like, you just ignoring science. And I said in the private chat, well, you can't ignore what you don't see. There's no science there, so how can he be
That's why I
ignored?
said on the chat, that Flat does not understand scientism, but he comprehends science because words have meaning.
But it's amazing how he keeps trying to tell me, okay, I must tell him what's going on. Dude, you're the one who's claiming it's science. How must I turn something that's not scientific to science?
I wanted you to ask if objects weigh more or less in a vacuum.
This, you know what? Flat is very simple answer. That's
Yeah, you have to
how you can turn flat Earth into globe Earth. The same story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we make some experiment, we have to do everything, to have a 24 camera, to have all the data, everything.
But I found it funny when he says, "Oh, you don't know science. Give me some," and I don't want to give it to. He doesn't want to let me talk to give him the scientific hypothesis and experiment. No. You must create the videos, dude. I'm telling you to your face what's going on now.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy even tried to test me on scales, thinking I don't know what the hell scales are, but I work with scales every damn day of my life.
Then he started taking the mick at you. And the video, you were doing that intentionally to bloody show him what he did.
It's not hard to understand. If you move it, the calibration is out. So therefore, any measurement after that is inaccurate. He even had conceded this. So therefore, your measurements, your data is false, inaccurate data. It's an invalid.
It's even when you calibrate it all the time, you need to take care about the weight, that it's not too hot or too cold or something,
Mhm. Because that's what I said. So a kilogram weight weighs a kilogram weight no matter where you go.
Cat GPT says you should give all your super chats to Roger for his GoFundMe Antarctica.
Okay. Does he want the little bit of? Okay. I'll give you the 400 Rand I just made. How's that? I'm sure that's going to pay for the one sock you're going to use. Socks.
Oh, socks. He's the meme machine.
But yeah, I was expecting that. The thing is, I must say, Craig did a good job. But the only thing I can fault him on, he kept on trying to defend him and trying to help him.
Of course.
A few times.
Came to his rescue a few times. I think that's why Stoops or whatever said that in their super chat. But it's not how you moderate.
But other than that, I think he did a good job.
Sorry, did you saw McToon with King Nico?
Yeah, I think he did pretty good job. He was very biased. He was a bit, but it's big improvement from his end. To be honest, that's my perspective.
He was such an asshole to King Nico. This was unbelievable.
Who was?
Yeah, McToon. When he was debating King Nico.
What? McToon?
He's an asshole to everybody.
What is McToon debating King Nico?
Yeah. At the beginning, he lowers his microphone so he can't talk much, and he was just laughing.
Okay.
He
I
debated
thought he
him,
was just the TFE and thingy. I didn't know he did McToon as well. Which means Roger isn't going anywhere. You don't know that, do you? He might not. He might.
Well, he's still got a year, and
a year to get the funding.
You can still help him to get on that.
Yeah, but I loved how King Nico was doing that. He just sits there and was protecting his Bible. And McToon gets really crazy. He was showing there, the fingers of the evil and everything. Yes, he was really getting nervous. He was seeing this. Yes, but King Nico just said, "Your demons are going to rumble inside in you."
I really love his pushed laugh at his end. When he was laughing, really pushed.
No, they see this in much of shows. They get nervous and. Like Witzit, he's moving around.
Maybe if Roger left this with the link, then it would get promoted. Cat GPT.
Had who was that guy? Zetetic Ferret Face and Nacho Cheese was losing their shit on us the other night there, from what I understand. I've had a lot of people tell me about it, and I was
Yeah,
like,
we
oh,
watched.
wow, what a...
We watched. That's what I say. So Nat Chiquita wants to talk to me. He's like, I heard you calling me out. I'm like, yeah. So I'm gonna probably set up a time to talk to him then. And then Z, I don't know if he's ever gonna, because I mean, I did tell.
He's toxic. He's a very toxic individual.
How do you know?
Well, it's all. Well,
Really
you
is.
know, he's literally saw everything is about him. It's all about him.
Yeah.
Sorry, who are you talking
Every
about?
bit of it. I mean, it's like, that, yeah, his thing. I'm the king of the flat earthers and shit, and I'm like, what? Where? Who? I missed that ceremony. Was there a coronation, or how did that occur? King of flat Earth, huh? Wow, how about that?
Yeah, he kneeled before me, and he kneeled before me, and he kissed my ring. That's why he became king.
Estrogen and nature beta.
Legend, how can you know for a fact he's not going when it hasn't come to the time yet? You can't know for a fact yet, can you?
He's still got a year to get his fun. And by the way, he can also always move it to next year as well if he hasn't made it yet. There's always a next year. The difference is, you see, the difference with him, with his one and this Duffy rubbish, is they made it. They had to go a specific time. They had to do everything because it was planned specifically for deception. Roger is just doing an inquiry. He wants to go check it for himself. There's a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing is, that specific time frame also in the ALE is the only people that take people there, and that's the only time period they offer that cheapy little excursion for $31,000 or $32,000. The rest of them are like $70,000, a lot longer. But that one through the 14th through the 8th, that's even up for this next year's schedule.
Because you know what's funny? You know what's funny? If you take from South Africa, in Cape Town, you go to Troll Station and all that, you don't see the 24-hour sun. It's weird. The only place you see the 24-hour sun, they claim, is their Union Glacier. Why don't you see it anywhere else?
Yeah. Why you didn't notice there? I find it good that you go down there, really. It's great. Hope you had a great time.
But yeah, I would love to go down to Cape Town to go to Troll Station, just to say I went to the Troll Station.
Yeah, and I think why there was no military, I think. Didn't there must be some military?
The military? Yeah, they got their different militaries all over.
Because they have bases all around it. But
Oh, well, Legend, fine. You won't set a foot in Antarctica. You're right and we're wrong. Piss off.
Does it really matter, though?
No, it doesn't matter.
No. For globals, much doesn't matter. Just the way it is.
So it's set up for tomorrow night. I'm having that pastor coming to give his testimony. You guys can still come on the panel if you want to, because I don't think he's going to give like 2 hours of testimony. So it'll be quite a thing. And then it looks like Sunday night I'll be chatting with that Mike from the Drunk Debunk Show.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
And Dave, one more thing. Don't worry about it. No one's going to give you any shit.
You broke up.
I was throwing a shot across the bowl at Dave. But no one's going to give you any shit. Mike. What were you listening to, Dave? Come, Lord Jesus. What were you listening to?
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, you know that thing. Yeah, it was some nostalgia video. Remember when all them stars got together and it came up on my Facebook? It was that We Are the World. And it was starting out. It had Lionel Richie starts out, and then Stevie Wonder and them kick in. And what had happened? This stupid restream keeps changing my. It did it to me before. It changes my mic setting. And I was like, what the hell? How's that coming through hot? Because I have a mute button on my mic. And I had that light, right? So I went in and looked, and it had changed me back to my other default microphone. Or this should be my default microphone, but it went to my camera microphone.
I hate it when that happens. It does it to me as well.
You see, this microphone, I could play something on here, and you guys won't even hear it.
Yeah, but isn't Sorry Guys Restream open source still? It's not finished yet.
I don't know.
I think.
Check this, guys. Which one is the real King of Reeves?
I've seen that.
No.
Which one's the real one?
I would say the real one's the one on the right.
Oh.
This one.
Yeah.
That's the CGI.
Is it?
Yeah.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
And that's in Unreal Engine 5, guys.
There you go. And the only reason I said that is because the one on the left had a little bit of blur around the lips. So it just shows it. Now I can tell it's CGI. Now, when he's Neo, I can tell it's CGI. And Trinity, yeah.
But now my question is, are they not able to make that with people walking far away in the distance?
There is no spoon. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
There is no spoon. That's it.
Moon landing.
Don't try to bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. What truth? There is no spoon. Then you'll see it's not the spoon that bends. It's only you. That's the spoon. There is none.
Now it's sad there. But that's just how it is. Now we know it.
So, what do you guys have to say? Any closing statements, or? There's not much to say about the debate. It was just literally not there.
The debate is great, so it really.
That's all I can say is like, well done. I mean, then you had your normal trolls in chat saying, "Oh, he's getting beat by an old Aussie guy," and like, come on. Nah, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
I want to say I don't care anymore about the final. I care about it, but not about the guys who was there, like Witzit or Jeran. I don't care anymore about them, but they lied to us, and that's the deceive, and that's just like the moon landing 2.0 is. It's really like that.
Yeah, I have to agree. The rest of it's just irrelevant once it, boom, like with NASA. Okay. It don't matter to me what they're going to put out or what they say. Dude, you had to fake it. It's not real. That's all.
Yeah.
That's right.
As soon as we found a hint of deception, well, no. Okay. So what does that actually tell us? That they didn't debunk anything.
No.
They just went down there and said they did. Now, I see this as another move, a desperate attempt as the time gets short. More and more people are waking up and realizing what the hell is going on, coming to understand the realm in which they live. And the demons are freaking out.
Yeah.
They are. It's almost like throwing holy water on a possessed person. The power of Christ compels you, and they're freaking out and shit.
Yeah, the pea soup's about to get vomited.
Yeah.
And the good people now comes together. I see this. This is really important. Like you guys. Thanks to be here.
Test all things and hold fast to that which is true. And there's nothing new under the sun.
No.
I was glad I was here to be with you guys. I was witness today. The Globe, dude, that was a poor showing. And man, Flatzoid, you didn't have to beat that man like that.
I know you were a bit rough on him, dude. Come on.
No, you did very well. Keep it professional. You did great, yeah.
But I was thinking of other word when I said delinquent. I was trying to be nice still.
No, that was
Thanks.
the right word. That was the right word.
But,
For me too. Thanks a lot. And did you know Jeranism make the 666 video of the Christmas video?
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Go on
deleted
with the
one to make
666.
it again.
Because Sock says you must look at this quickly.
Okay. 54 seconds.
Music.
Mexico 88. That's Mexico 68.
Yeah.
Remember, there's no real people there. Ooh.
I was thinking Mexico 82 because that's the
See
last
this
Mexico
star?
World Cup. Oh, it's Olympics. It's Olympics, not World Cup.
Yep, and it's all fake.
Wow, man.
That's what I said. You can create unreal environments.
What I'm saying is just building. It's building, isn't it? But digitally building.
Mm-hmm. See, it all looks real.
Yeah, that looks brilliant. You just don't know if you're not looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a little bit old, but looks good, yeah.
It reminds me in the Roger Black race, you know, that when
Oh,
Wayne
wow.
collapsed at the end. Was it Roger Black?
Yeah.
Back in the 50s? Can't remember.
Yeah, stock footage and VFX.
You can't believe anything anymore. Pictures.
I find it really odd that they keep saying, nah, you guys just don't understand. You don't understand. How could they fake it? Blah, blah, blah. And then when you tell them how they can fake it, then it's like, no, you guys are just desperate.
Yeah.
It's like, is it possible to be faked? The answer is yes. Is it looking to be faked? The answer is yes.
Yes.
So what does that tell you? I understand people can just say, okay, they accept there's a 24-hour sun. Again, it's not about the 24-hour sun. It's about they are being deceptive. They found it to actually go below the mountain. Yes. Even Dave McKeegan said it went behind the mountain. He said it. Okay. Because they saw this, they had to fake it. They had no other choice. Because if it came out that it did go, what would happen to the globe, guys?
It would not be good for them.
There'd
So
be
it would.
chaos.
It had to be for the flat Earth a clash. Yeah, it had to be.
There'd be
They
chaos.
wanted it.
Yeah, there's no way they were coming back from there to say there was no 24
They kind of were forced to fake it.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't get what they want, they would fake it. Yeah.
So yeah,
And it's
that's my
also a big clash on the Christianity, you know, on the Bible and on the Creator.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a big attack on the Bible and biblical cosmology, big time. Because I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, but now your Bible's been debunked."
Here
No,
in Austria, nobody knows, you know. So I'm really pushing it,
Mhm.
telling everybody, you know.
Yeah, first of all, they're claiming the AE map is biblical cosmology. No, it's not. Secondly, they haven't proven there is a 24-hour sun. So it's quite insane, and it also doesn't change the fact the Earth is flat.
Right.
Exactly. It never was going to change that.
And we are the center, and
I mean, actually, a lot of the things they've shown, even though they faked it, kind of shows a flat Earth, guys.
Yeah.
Local sun, local sun moving across a flat plane.
Yeah.
it's so sad. Some people don't need much, you know. They need these little pictures, and you're the stupid flat earther, you know.
Mhm.
This we must take in case.
There's at least two spirits in the world working. There's
Yeah.
the spirit of Antichrist, and then there's God's spirit is actually working in the world. He's actually making a difference. It's actually performing work. And he's convincing the world of three things. This is the work of the Spirit of God. Convincing the world of sin, because the Lord Jesus Christ dealt with sin.
Mm-hmm.
He's convincing the world of righteousness, because the Lord Jesus Christ is at the right hand of God the Father, and he is the righteous. And he's out there working, convincing the world that the God of this world is already dead because he's already been judged. Judgment's the third thing. The God of this world's already judged.
Sin,
If I was
righteousness, and judgment.
I would do the same, you know, if I were Satan. But I'm not Satan, I'm a Christian.
So, yeah, the spirits are working in the world.
You should watch film If I Were the Devil. It's pretty
Did you
short.
know the film Behind the Curve site?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
666 months are passed until the flat.
It's exactly 660 exactly.
Mhm.
Coincidence?
Coincidence? No.
Yeah, it's
Plan.
always just coincidence. And I find that really odd.
But this is science.
That's the
I
thing.
saw it.
Listen, we're nice fuckers every time when they come up with this. Oh, exactly as predicted. Can we please see the calculations behind your predictions? Because they don't have them. They just say that. I've seen that. That's just a cardinal line that he uses. That's a bullshit line that Craig uses. That's one that Toon uses. And nobody ever says, hey, let me see the calculations behind those predictions. Let me see the calculations behind your predictions of the pressure gradient. Okay? I want to know specifically how gravity acts on each one of the gases specifically. Do you have those? Do you have those numbers?
Yeah, but that's also why he's like, oh, the WGS84. It's like, dude, the WGS84 has got nothing to do with centrifugal force.
That was a belly laugher too. That was so funny.
Yeah.
So
And
last
the
time I
drone-
checked, geodetics has nothing to do with centrifugal force.
You don't need it.
I also had the documents from Witsit with the charge for assault for spitting on his wife and all that, but I didn't want to present it. I didn't feel right to present stuff like
You're
that.
good, man. I know.
So Eddie Banjo did present it, but
Okay.
yeah, I already knew about it.
Okay.
I just didn't feel right presenting it.
Yeah. So Jeranism is now a global. Yeah?
He always was. I
was
think he was.
Yeah, he always was. Yeah.
They can have him. They can keep him. No, as
Yeah.
Anthony says, no takeies backsies.
Well, it's
We
either
can all-
that, it's either he always was, or he's a flat earther that's just completely sold out. You know what I mean?
Right. Another boy. Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
No, I would say he was a glober from the start. That's my.
He's done. Think about it. All the Globers are now supporting his channel. He's getting a whole bunch of new subscribers,
Of
new
course.
supporters, and everybody that supported him for these last 10 years is now seen as trash to him. Take that into consideration, guys.
Yeah.
Everybody that supported Jeran for the last 10 years, he says is trash.
Yeah.
These are the new astronauts.
Yeah.
So it's also
Well, it's why I feel
sorry
bad.
what I want to say. No, forget it. Maybe it comes back.
I feel bad for the t-shirt collectors, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and those people that are duped into, and this is one of the biggest things I talk about even on my show, is being victim of the perception deception. Stop basing what you validate on the perception of the person that gives it to you.
Yeah.
You have this thing up here in your head that is made to process information. Use the fucking thing. You know? Ask questions. Don't just accept it and say, wow, that guy acts really cool and I have his shirts are really neat and shit, you know? And he's got a really lot of subscribers. I don't get numbers and shit.
They are
At the end of the day, it's another swinging dick on YouTube, okay?
Yeah. Well, we all know why Elizabeth was chosen for the golden ticket, guys. I'm not going to say nothing about that, but we all know why.
Yeah, you did great with it. But he was... the demons was rumbling inside, yeah.
Well, the demons got a hold of David too, you know.
So you guys think we should get hold of not a Professor Dave and say, since you called us out?
Oh, I mean that guy.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he said your name, right? What
Mhm.
you wait for him to say it 3 times?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip that out where he says I'm going to make a video and I'm going to call him out and say, hey, it's taking you 5 years to finally respond.
Yeah. But yeah, again, if Chris from You Are Mocked is watching, Professor Dave is definitely not a professor.
I'm not looking. I'm not watching him. I know he's a shill.
Not a Professor
Course.
Dave is not a professor. The guy has people writing scripts for him where he wouldn't know what the hell's going on.
I'm also with Sancho Bonatti a little bit carefully because he comes now back. I thought he stepped out of the society, but he comes now back. Mm.
Yeah. No, but he will do that. Bro Sanchez, I don't trust.
Mm-mm.
Not at
He
all.
made a lot of money.
Yeah, but he's a big antichrist.
Yeah, definitely. There's a few things that he said that seem all right, but when it comes to the Christ thing,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, he said a little bit too much, PJ, you know? I think.
So we're going to end this because PJ still wants to do his movie.
Oh yeah, that's just after midnight. That's about just over about an hour and 15 minutes away. An hour and 20 minutes away.
What's the movie?
Identity.
Flat, I have dropped the link to the film.
Identity. John
Only 3
Cusack,
minutes.
Ray Liotta from about 2005.
Pretty good video.
Okay.
Really, it's a
Really
great
good.
summary.
Really good.
I think everyone should watch it.
Went with the dog,
Yeah,
then I
I'll
come
put it in
sorry.
the. I'll put Janus's link also in there for you guys if you want to watch this.
Cool.
The truth about it.
Oh yeah, the Devil Paul Harvey. Yeah, man, that's a good one. If I was
Versions longer and shorter. Yeah, they're great.
that was put out the year I was born. That's how long ago. And you listen to it, and it is so pertinent to
Accurate,
right
yeah.
now.
That's what happens.
It's amazing. You know, that was 60 years ago.
Wow.
Crazy. Cool.
Sov, do you have a show coming up?
No, I'm going to be on my son's channel on Rumble, and let me put the link to that
Burn the
down.
corporate fiction, yeah, guys.
But he's only going to be on Rumble tonight.
Okay.
Because he's going to be going over some stuff. Let me get you
Crazy content. So
copy that, put it here.
Yeah, because at least you guys can say things on there that you can't say on YouTube. So
Yeah, I think that's why he's doing it. He says he's kind of worried that he might scare the shit out of some of his subs. So I'm putting this over in the regular chat here too. Let me paste it in there. There it is. Oh, you did it already. I did it right after you too. You beat me, damn it.
okay. So you guys want to say thank you for coming. I appreciate you guys in the panel as well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was a nice long stream. I'll see you guys all tomorrow night. And tomorrow's going to be exciting because it's going to be a pastor's testimony about the flat earth. So that's going to be quite cool.
On the Rumble thing with Ryan tonight, it's at 9:45 Eastern. So whatever that works out for you people, 6:45 in West Coast, East Coast, 9:45 p.m. And then I think it's 6 hours for South Africa and also for PJ.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it will be about 5 a.m. for me, probably.
I'll probably be just finishing my movie about that. Probably something like that. Cool.
Yeah, quick one. The most I listen to Globbers, I'm becoming more and more attached to Flat Earth because I want to separate myself from them as far as possible. Even if I know that the Earth is flat, they're helping me with that.
Hey, great to hear.
Have you guys realized that this whole TFE has made Globers very, very obsessed with what flat earthers think?
Not everybody, there are different kind of people.
All right.
Why didn't Sob reply to Zed and Nutch past night?
Society, it's good, I think. You know, the shields that has to go away and the good people has to stay.
Yeah.
You lost your flow, Flatzoid.
No.
Yeah. Again. Bye, guys. See you
Later.
tomorrow night. Blessings.
Hey, guys.
Bye.
May the pressure be with you.
Yeah. May the pressure be with you.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, no what yes. You made it. Go through it finally.